it's much more simple,
Mhm.
and they just don't they're just using hokum and puffery and smoke and mirrors to keep us divided and keep us uh, satiated, and also keep us just looking the other way. You know,
100%.
When you say
Yeah, I
something
would.
simpler, though, what do you mean by
Yeah,
that? What do you think it is that's something that's simpler? What do you think it
I
actually is?
see, but that's I couldn't tell you. I'm just saying
Okay.
it's probably so it's so believable that it's unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? It's
Okay.
right in front of our faces,
Yeah.
and we can't see the fruit for the trees because we're so caught up in everything else.
All right. Well,
There's a reason. Oh, go ahead. You're about to play it. Go ahead.
let's get this thing going. So, yeah, I think she said she got to leave, or did she?
TIA and Mexico City.
I've been joined by two people who are relevant to this story if we think in terms of a succession of stations or stages, places where we're standing on solid ground. These two gentlemen are responsible for significant developments which placed us in a place where we had not been before and which are unambiguous and undeniable. Their work as investigators for the House Select Committee on Assassinations, their interviews and interaction with George Joanides, who was brought out of retirement to act as an intermediary between the CIA and the pesky congressional investigation, investigating the broad daylight murder of a popular sitting president, and their authorship of either the Hardway Lopez report, or is it the Lopez Hardway report? It's just no.
Really the Blakey, the Goldsmith, the Fonzie,
Yes.
Hardway Lopez report.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Yay. It's my honor to introduce Dan Hardway and Ed Lopez.
Thank you. I am Dan Hardway. I know you would be hard pressed to tell that I was Dan and this was Ed Lopez by just looking at us. It's always been that way.
He's the Spanish guy.
I am. But that's a long story for a different forum. And Ed is an honorary hillbilly. I had the distinct privilege of working for Bob Blakey and with Ed Lopez from 1977 to 1978 on the House Select Committee on Assassinations. It was my honor and privilege to be able to assist Ed in preparing the Lopez report. And to work for Bob, Ed and I both were students at Cornell and accompanied Bob to DC from Cornell, took leaves of absence, and worked on the committee. I know you're all expecting Bob to be here this morning, and he was supposed to be here this morning. However, he was unable to get here until tomorrow, so he will be appearing tomorrow afternoon. I do have a statement that is basically a summary of his statement that he was going to make this morning that I've been asked to read on Bob's behalf as part of this presentation. So if you will bear with my...
This is a long presentation. We can't watch that. I'm sorry, I can't do it. That's some shit you got to watch on your own. That's some shit you want to watch. I will put the... Hold on, let me copy this. I'm going to put it in the chat.
y'all watched. Does anyone remember the movie Kingsman, the first one?
Yeah, that was a good one.
I watched it again today, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I peeped about the Kingsman? If you watched the first one, did anybody peep what Samuel L. Jackson was doing and saying?
Yeah.
No.
Yo, I watched it and I'm like, wow. And that came out in 2014. And what was Samuel L. Jackson talk about? Climate control, and he was controlling people through the phone and creating chaos and everything through the phones, giving out free phones. And who gave out free phones?
Black Obama.
Listen, just just watch that and then just think about everything that's happening today. It's very, very weird.
They say they have to tell you before they do things. That's what they say.
Now, The Kingsman is a great movie. I love The Kingsman movie. It's great. But when you look at the message and everything that's going on, it's very eerie.
Yeah, I gotta watch it again because it's been a long time since I watched it, bro.
Yo, watch it again. It's on Hulu.
In 1966, a well-known scientist released a book with information that
Yeah,
could
now I
impact
just
everyone on Earth. But before anyone could read it, it was classified by the CIA. We only learned about it a few years ago when it was declassified. But the CIA only released 57 pages of the original 284-page manuscript. And those pages have been, in the CIA's own words, sanitized. Now, why does the CIA think this book is so dangerous that they had to hide it from the public for 60 years and continue to hide most of it? Well, it's because the man who wrote it describes the end of the world.
Uh-oh.
In 1966, former McDonnell Douglas engineer Dr. Chan Thomas released a book called The Adam and Eve Story. Now, that title might sound like he's being cute, but he's actually being literal. This book is about the end of the world as we know it.
Hey,
What's up?
is this one of those stories where you scare the hell out of us? Didn't you wrap it up with a happy ending?
Well, you're half right.
Oh no. If I soil my bowl again, you gotta remember to edit that out.
They didn't know you had an accident. You just told them.
Well,
Thomas presents evidence of a coming shift in the Earth's poles that creates a cataclysm. And Thomas says these pole shifts are cyclical, that on regular intervals, a disaster wipes out almost all human life, and we start over again in the Stone Age. He says we're actually the 6th advanced civilization to evolve on Earth. There may have been even more civilizations that have been here, but the further back you go, the harder it is to know for sure because some of these civilizations occupied continents that no longer exist. Now, Thomas isn't the first scientist to publish this theory. In 1958, almost 10 years before the Adam and Eve story, Charles Hapgood published The Earth's Shifting Crust, which discussed the Earth crustal displacement hypothesis. This theory says that sometimes the Earth spins really fast and the continents are rearranged. When Hapgood proposed the idea of continental drift, it was called pseudoscience. But Hapgood had his supporters. In fact, Albert Einstein wrote the forewords for 2 of his books. Now, of course, we know that Hapgood was right. The continents do move. They drift apart and collide together over and over again, and have done so for almost 4 billion years. Pangaea was the supercontinent that broke apart to form the land masses that exist today. But before Pangaea, there was the supercontinent Gondwana, which existed for 400 million years. Before Gondwana, there was Pannotia. Before that, Rodinia, Columbia, Atlantica, Arctica, Kennerland, Ur, and Valbara. These were all supercontinents that eventually broke apart and reformed. After working with Einstein and a few other scientists, Charles Hapgood released the book.
Wait a minute. Wait a goddamn minute. I have never
Hey,
heard no
that's
shit
the
like
place.
that
Well,
before.
shifting, that's all it is. That's
So,
what it is.
yeah, I sent this because it's interesting. Now, he speaks in absolutes here, but then he goes on and qualifies some of the statements. But it's interesting. It's an interesting theory because if this theory is right, then it gives credence to that one dude, that one hack on Netflix who had that Netflix docu-series.
You talking about Graham Hancock?
Yeah, he was on Joe Rogan for as well.
Yeah, Graham Hancock.
Yeah. I don't truly care for him. I think he's a fool, but it gives credence to some of his.
So my question is, how do they know all these things existed?
They don't know it. It's a hypothesis. They're speculating, but I'm saying it's based on some information that they have, and you'll see as you play. But they don't know the names of the continents. They just name them based upon what they
look like.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's keep it going. I just want to stop it and give it a little what the hell.
The path of the pole as an update to his previous theories. In this book, Hapgood suggested that the Earth's poles are constantly moving. Again, this piece of pseudoscience was eventually proven true. Hapgood believed that a pole shift between 15 and 40 degrees occurred around 9600 BC, or 11,600 years ago.
Younger Dryas.
Younger Dryas. Now, the Piri-Reis map is something that has baffled scientists for hundreds of years. On the Piri-Reis map is the continent of Antarctica, but Antarctica wasn't discovered until 1820, and Piri-Reis claimed the information on his map came from much older maps. If Charles Hapgood was right and the Earth's axis was shifted 15 degrees from where it is now, Antarctica wouldn't be completely covered in ice. Hapgood believed an Ice Age civilization, long forgotten, mapped the coast thousands of years ago. Though many of Hapgood's theories have proven to be true, the Ice Age pole shift is still controversial. We do know the poles shift over time. We also know the continents drift over a very long period of time. But Dr. Chan Thomas, in his book, The Adam and Eve Story, says the shift happens in less than a day. Chan Thomas describes in detail what this will be like, and it's worse than any Hollywood disaster movie ever conceived. Far worse. Chan Thomas begins his book with a chapter that describes exactly what we'll experience during this pole shift event. But before we get into it, now might be a good time to hit pause and grab fresh underwear.
I've learned to listen to him when he says that.
With a rumble so low as to be inaudible, then fueling into a thundering roar, the earthquake starts. Only it's not like any earthquake in history. In California, mountains shake like ferns in a breeze. The mighty Pacific rears back and piles up into a mountain of seawater more than 2 miles high, then starts its race eastward. The wind attacks, shredding everything in supersonic bombardment. The mountain of Pacific seawater follows the wind eastward, burying Los Angeles and San Francisco as if they were but grains of sand. Across the continent, the 1,000-mile-per-hour wind wreaks unholy vengeance everywhere, mercilessly.
And here's why there's such violent wind. The Earth spins about 1,000 miles per hour. We don't feel this because everything is spinning together. The land, the water, the atmosphere. Now, Thomas says that when the pole shift happens, the Earth's air and water continue to spin, but the land masses stop.
In many places, the Earth's molten sublayer breaks through and spreads a sea of white-hot liquid fire. In a fraction of a day, all vestiges of civilization are gone, and the great cities, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, Dallas, New York, Boston, are nothing but legends. Barely a stone is left where millions walked just a few hours ago.
You're
I
on
hear you.
mute. You're on mute.
I said I'm gonna stop it right there. How many of y'all believe that shit?
I don't believe that shit. But
I don't believe it.
What do you think?
It's crazy.
That's great.
But
Yeah,
bullshit
Who hasn't
occurred?
heard any of this stuff before, or
I've
something
heard of
like this
bullshit.
before?
I've heard a lot of this before. Pole shifts. I've heard about pole shifts, and I've heard this this theory before. But I've now, it's just what I know now versus what I knew then. I'm just putting things together in my brain, and it doesn't get more clear. It just gets more convoluted.
You saying it's probable, troll? I don't know. Pole shifts are normal. I listen. I don't know.
Well,
It might
yeah,
be.
but I mean, it's not that. I mean, it doesn't sound impossible that the Earth has gone through pole shifts, but that we could expect it to happen in our lifetime.
Well, they're saying that as this video continues, you'll find that they say that we're due for one based upon Chan's hypothesis. We were
But in
due for
our
one.
lifetime, we're due for one.
Yes, he said we were due for one in 2000. It didn't happen, of course. So they're saying we're due. We're overdue, is what they're saying. So it has nothing to do with climate change. It's nothing to do, it debunks climate change in a heartbeat,
Mm-hmm.
which is definitely debunkable because I won't get into that.
The
But
climate changes every day, so
yeah, exactly. But this absolutely would debunk it because it has nothing to do with us.
yeah.
If a pole shift the way that they're saying it does every so often, then us dumping carbon into the air means
Doesn't
nothing.
matter.
Spitting in the ocean.
Yeah.
But okay, so your pushback against this though is that you don't believe pole shifts actually have occurred in Earth's history, or that it won't occur in our human lifetime, that we will experience a pole shift.
My pushback is the violence in which they're saying will ensue. They're saying that the pole shift doesn't happen gradually. They're saying that the pole shift happens in the matter of a day. It will happen just like that. And before we know it, everything will turn on its head. 1,000-mile winds will whip air around us like at supersonic speeds. And if you've ever,
the thing about that is, you look at it right now.
Yeah,
you looking at it in the years. I mean, a whole year, the different shit changes. So it's not going to change overnight. That's ridiculous. So you even think that it's going to do that.
And that's my point. I'm saying
in one day. Come on,
they're saying it's going to happen in one day. You'll free what was once cold will be scorching hot. What was once hot will be freezing cold. New York will freeze over in 4 hours. Everything will be covered in mounds of mud and ocean. The Earth is gonna crack molten not coronasphere. What's that first layer under
the mantle?
Yeah, the mantle. Thank you.
Yeah.
The mantle will then be allowed to be liquid, and then that liquid, molten lava will come up and just scorch the earth, and those who survive will have it worse, is what they're saying. And they're saying that this will happen in a day, one day.
Crazy.
All right, here we go.
Now think of what would happen if you were in a car going 1,000 miles per hour that suddenly stopped. Now think of what would happen if a large city going 1,000 miles per hour suddenly stopped. Skyscrapers would collapse. Millions of people would be thrown around like they were in a food processor. Very few people would survive that. But survivors are the unlucky ones, because moving across the country at the speed of sound is a 2-mile-high wall of water, mud, and debris.
South America finds the Andes not high enough to stop the violence. In less than a day, the entire continent is burned by molten earth fire, buried under miles of violent seas, then turned into a frozen hell. Everything freezes: man, beast, plant, and mud in less than 4 hours.
When the shift happens, the land on Earth stops moving, so the sun stops moving in the sky. That means one side of the Earth is going to get really hot, and the other side really cold. A temperature drop of 180 degrees. That means even the warmest parts of the planet are going to be 80 degrees below zero. Everything is frozen solid within 4 hours.
Europe cannot escape. The Alps, Pyrenees, Urals are sunken, then heaved even higher when the wall of seawater strikes. Western Africa and the sands of the Sahara vanish. The fury marches on for 6 days. During the 6th day, the ocean starts to settle. The Bay of Bengal Basin just east of India is now at the North Pole. The Pacific Ocean just west of Peru is at the South Pole. New ice caps begin to form in the new polar areas. Greenland and Antarctica, now rotating equatorially, emerge with verdant tropical foliage.
Thomas is predicting a 90-degree shift of the Earth's axis, basically turning the planet on its side. The poles move to the equator, and the equator moves to the poles.
New York lies at the bottom of the Atlantic, covered by unbelievable amounts of mud. Of San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago, Dallas, and Boston, not a trace is left. The cataclysm has done its work and drives the pitiful few who survive into a new Stone Age. We join Noah, Adam and Eve, Atlantis, Mu, and Olympus. And Jesus joins Osiris, Tahora, Zeus, and Vishnu.
In the first chapter of his book, Dr. Thomas paints a terrifying future. But how likely is it? In the next few chapters, Thomas goes on to not only prove his pole shift is possible, that it's happened before and will happen again very soon. In fact, there are signs that it may have already begun. Every culture has a flood myth. Abrahamic religions have Noah's flood. The Mayans have the Huracan flood, where the word hurricane comes from. Ancient Hawaiians have the Nu'u flood. The Sumerians wrote about a flood in Gilgamesh. Europe, Asia, Pacific Islanders, and native tribes from all over America. They all talk about a great flood that cleansed the earth so civilization could start again. Now, one myth is just folklore. 2 myths are a coincidence. 40 flood myths? This starts to look less like a myth and more like actual history. Now, on this channel, we typically associate great floods with the end of the last ice age, the Younger Dryas. And core samples provide solid evidence that this happened. But what's interesting is, Thomas said the last great flood wasn't 11,500 years ago, but 6,500 years ago. Now, in the 1960s, there was very little, if any, proof of this. But a few years ago, archaeologists found evidence.
All right, I'm stopped there again. Okay. So just because they're talking about a hurricane or a great flood, does that mean that doesn't really mean that the whole world was flooded? It just means
No.
that in that area they had a lot of water. But I don't know.
Again, a lot of conjecture. You'll see near the end of this guy takes massive quantum leaps here, and not this guy, but the person who wrote the book that he's referencing. But the Pyrenees, it was one point that I took to heart, was that Pyrenees map that was written, drawn in 1513.
Mm-hmm.
That clearly depicts
Antarctica.
So I'm saying that if that tells you anything, it tells you that one, it gives credence to people's theories about things happening on Antarctica. Two, Antarctica obviously was not all frozen over in the recent past. What was 1513, 400 years ago, 500 years ago? It's, so obviously there was something there, somebody there, and somebody was able to make it there. And only now are we knowing, only 100 years ago, they're saying they discovered it, 1820. So almost 200 years ago, they're saying that it was discovered. So I'm just saying that that's an example of things that are simple to believe, that they are using smoke and mirrors to deflect, saying, "Oh yeah, don't believe this." That's unbelievable. But
I mean, like I said, I don't know anything. That's why I say anything is possible. But
I'm saying, you see how simple that is to believe, because there's evidence. I mean, there's an evidence. There's a map. Obviously, somebody went there, and
Uncle Tom, I like what Michael Ray says.
This one?
No.
All the way up, further up. I got it.
No. Yeah, that one.
Before the Great Flood, the Earth was greenhouse. Yeah, well, yeah. All right. I don't know. I wasn't alive, so I couldn't tell you.
You might not like. Honestly, Graham Hancock might be a bit extreme, but I could see you, at least with Randall Carlson, who kind of falls in line with Graham Hancock's ideas. Randall Carlson does produce a lot more data and a lot more charts with the ice core samples. If you've ever seen any of it.
But here's the thing with that is you got to believe what they're saying is true.
No, I mean I'm not saying necessarily what he's
possible,
true.
because simple fact is, a lot of people can give you write a whole bunch of shit down for you and say this is what it's going to be. It doesn't mean that's true, and not to mention that you can even understand what they're writing. You're taking their word in consideration that what they're saying is something that is believable. But as we all know, science is not in one or two different people. It's
right.
It's a collective. It's not even a collective.
Yeah,
everyone thinks differently.
Based on a hypothesis.
Yeah,
and now it isn't it isn't prove this. I'm sorry. It is to prove the hypothesis, not disprove it. So, who was that guy that was on Joe Rogan with him?
Randall Carlson.
Yeah, I heard briefly about it last night. You remember when he was talking about what was happening in the Maldives?
Mm-hmm. Sure do.
I really want to know more about that, using the power of sound.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he said that he's been a geologist since like the 70s, I believe, and he originally started doing work in it was either Iceland or Greenland.
What up, Bob? I didn't even see you in here.
Which one is it? Greenland that has all the glaciers, or is it Iceland? It's Greenland, right?
No, it's Greenland. Greenland has all the glaciers.
That's where he said he originally got his ice core samples from. That's the only reason why I brought it up, because I know you said you didn't care for Graham Hancock's material, but Randall Carlson at least produces the data he gets from the ice core samples. If that holds any water for you.
right, well, let's continue. This is actually pretty good. I like it.
Yeah.
Of the Gunyu flood myth in China, evidence of a great flood has been found in the Mediterranean and in the Black Sea. These discoveries put the flood between 6,500 and 7,000 years ago, more recent than the Younger Dryas, and right when Thomas says it happened. Chan Thomas provides the dates of other floods. The Younger Dryas is about 11,500 years ago. Before that, a flood 18,500 years ago. And this is exactly the time when the Bering Land Bridge went underwater. Before that, 29,000 years ago, which was the end of the Wisconsin glacial period. And before that, 43,800 years ago. But global floods aren't controversial. We know they happened. What is controversial is the claim that advanced civilizations existed before each of the floods. Mainstream archaeology and paleontology say the first civilization emerged in Mesopotamia 6,500 years ago. But what if that was just the last reboot?
Ooh, like the Batman movies?
Exactly.
The Dark Knight Rises is the best one.
Can we discuss Batman later? I'm trying to talk about the end of the world here.
Ooh, that's why I keep interrupting.
Coward. When we look at the erosion around the base of the Great Sphinx, we see patterns that were formed by running water, vast amounts of water moving at tremendous speeds. But if this is water erosion, that means the Sphinx was created before the last flood 6,500 years ago, which is before the emergence of the Egyptian civilization. Archaeologists hate that idea. And they really hate the idea that the Sphinx was built over 10,000 years ago. But there's other evidence of a cataclysmic pole shift, specifically of a great mud flood and a sunken continent.
Do you mean?
I mean Atlantis.
It's Jemima!
Chan Thomas makes some pretty extreme claims in the Adam and Eve story. Extraordinary claims need extraordinary evidence. In his dialogues, Plato famously introduced the world to Atlantis, the advanced utopian society that was destroyed in a cataclysm. Now, until definitive proof of Atlantis is found, it will continue to be considered a mythical land. But that won't and shouldn't stop people from looking for it. There is a geological feature in Northwest Africa called the Richat structure, also called the Eye of the Sahara. It's about the right size and shape for Atlantis. Plato described the city as concentric rings with a waterway flowing out. But even among Atlantis believers, there's debate about whether this is a man-made structure or a natural one. But what I find fascinating is near the Eye of the Sahara and all over the planet, you'll see large ripples in the landscape. Now, on the ground, these look like rolling hills, but they're actually about 50 feet high, the size of a 5-story building. And they were caused by water. A lot of water.
This is one of the craziest things you'll ever see.
These ripples, repeated ripples in an area where there's nothing else like it.
This is the fingerprints of the flood. That's what it is.
Wow.
The water here, Joe.
Joe Rogan will believe anything if you give him a dab of acid.
Begin to think of tsunami.
That's also Randall Carlson, by the way.
Here, what you have to visualize
Yeah, I see him, yeah.
is the tsunami sweeping over the land that's over 1,000 feet deep. And it's sweeping down over this land at probably 200 or 300 million cubic feet per second, which is an inconceivable amount of water.
But Atlantis isn't the only place lost to this disaster. On the other side of the world, we have another lost continent. This is called the Land of Mu. Mu is described by Augustus Le Plongeon and later by James Churchward, both of whom translated very old texts from the Maya and India. Both of these cultures, on opposite sides of the world, describe a vast continent in the Pacific that reached Hawaii in the north, and as far south as Easter Island, and as far west that it almost reached the islands of Japan.
Here.
James Bramwell and William Scott Elliott.
Now imagine if something like that did exist and filled up that space between all three continents, how vastly different the face of the earth would be. Temperature-wise, pressure-wise, vegetation and animal-wise, and would explain why certain species of animals exist on certain continents, though there are so many vast there's so much water between those continents. But I just don't see it. I don't see something like that existing and then going underwater in our recent past, and then there not be true evidence of it. We have so much. We supposedly have the texts from 6,500 years ago. even though the Library of Alexandria was destroyed, they still had the library in Constantinople. They still had the library in my goodness, in
the Library of Athens.
Yes, in
Athens.
Athens.
Not Athens. No, Thebes.
Thebes.
Thebes. Yes, Thebes.
Thebes, and they had one in Egypt. So I'm just trying to figure out. You know, I don't believe all information can just be suppressed indefinitely. So where's the info?
So you pretty much you got to see it to believe it, at least a little bit.
Well, I just want to see who wrote it. I want to see who wrote it down.
I agree. That's what I'm.
You know, I don't necessarily have to see a picture. This is Mew. You know, I don't want to. I just want to see actual writing, some text about it. You know,
yeah.
I don't have to see a Polaroid. All right.
Oh, I was agreeing with you. And if Black Thoughts was in here, I just want to let him know I did download the damn album. I'll listen to it today.
Both proponents of this theory claim the continent was destroyed in a cataclysm 11,500 years ago. There's that date again. The Yonaguni Monument off the coast of Japan is said to be the underwater ruins of Mu. Nam Madol in Micronesia is considered to be the southern part of Mu. The site is full of structures made of enormous logs of volcanic rock. Nobody knows who built this or how, but their society was advanced. Just recently, LiDAR imaging from the air shows that at one time, Nam Madol had an artificial irrigation system that could bring fresh water to residents all over the area. The eastern part of Mu is Easter Island, and there could be evidence of a cataclysm there. On Easter Island are the Moai statues, and you've seen these. It's lots of heads, about 1,000 actually. And most people don't realize that these statues have bodies buried deep underground. So there are two options. One, whoever built the statues first dug holes, then buried 30-foot tall, 80-ton statues up to their necks, then filled in the holes. Or two, the statues were completely above ground, but at some point were buried by something. And look at Easter Island. It's a tiny island in the middle of nowhere. At one point, 12,000 people lived there. Where did they come from? Mainstream anthropology says that people from Polynesia took a canoe out thousands of miles in the middle of the Pacific and hoped for the best. But if the continent of Mu was real, then they could have just walked there. This could also explain why Polynesian languages share similarities to Greek, and maybe why on Easter Island they worshipped a sun god called Ra'ah, which is awfully close to the Egyptian sun god Ra. And the connections don't stop there. There are similarities between Greek, Egyptian, and even Indian gods, as if all these cultures intermingled or came from a single source. Chan Thomas lays out some good evidence for the cyclical cataclysm theory. But the big questions are how and when will it happen? Well, you're not going to like the answer. Dr. Chan Thomas lays out a compelling argument for a coming global cataclysm. But when? Well, to answer that, we have to understand how it happens. In the story of Adam and Eve, Thomas includes a diagram showing the cross-section of the Earth and a description of the process.
The process of a cataclysm is known now. Look at the cross-section of the Earth inside the front cover. You'll see two molten layers, the orange ones. The important one is the thin molten layer starting 60 miles down, extending 60 miles deeper to 120 miles below the surface of the Earth. The thick, deep molten layer starting 1,800 miles down at the bottom of the mantle and extending 1,300 miles deeper is the outer core. Seismology has proven these two orange layers to be molten, and they are white hot, over 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit.
Now, Dr. Thomas was able to predict seismic activity all over the world.
Inside the Earth, the electrical and magnetic structure of the interior makes the layers act as if they were near solid. As long as the magnetic and electrical structure of the Earth maintains its orderliness, it keeps rotating on axis in a normal manner. Every few thousand years, the magnetic and electrical orderliness in the shallow molten layer is disorganized, to the extent that the shallow molten layer is allowed to act as a free liquid, which then serves as a lubricant for the ice caps to pull the shell around the Earth's interior so as to have the ice caps shift about 90 degrees into the torrid zone.
When this event occurs, the layer beneath the Earth's crust turns from solid to liquid. Then the land masses can slide around freely. And the weight of the ice caps then yanks the Earth off axis.
In 1/4 to 1/2 a day, the geographic poles move to the torrid zone and all hell lets loose.
Well, that's an understatement.
The atmosphere and the Earth's oceans don't shift with the shell. They just keep on rotating west to east. And at the equator, that speed is about 1,037 miles per hour. So while the shell shifts with the poles going to the equator, the winds and oceans continue eastward, blowing and flooding across the Earth at supersonic speeds, inundating continents with water miles deep, destroying everything with which man has ever dealt, including himself. That's a summary of the process.
Oh, when is all this supposed to happen? I need time to get a steel reinforced bow.
Well, Chan Thomas updated his prediction in 1993 and said the shift would happen in 7 years, around the year 2000. He mentioned that Nostradamus and Edgar Cayce made the same prediction.
Yeah, but that's over 20 years ago, which means we're due.
We're due. There's a lot more to the Adam and Eve story, but those are the bullet points. And if you want to read the entire...
All right, that was a good pausing section.
How do they know this? Like how are they measuring? I'm so serious. How are they measuring like down into the Earth's core? Like who's digging down into molten lava and measuring it?
We
You
haven't
have to
even gone
understand,
that
when it
far.
comes to geology, most of it's an assumption. We assume that the Earth has a core. We don't.
I'm
Act,
trying to like really take this in, and then I'm like, we don't know this. They're just saying
we don't.
this.
But most of it is theory. Most of it is theory, and honestly, scientists, the scientific community, for the most part, assumes that the Earth has a core, based off the theory, the consensus of the theory that the Earth has
Well,
a
the
core.
thing about it
like,
is,
we
I
can
think
have
we've
this-
only
Oh.
gone 11. I only think we've gone 11 miles deep,
Yeah,
Which is that ain't shit.
which is nothing.
yeah.
So that's not even breaking the what is
The
it,
mantle.
the Earth? The Earth
Yeah.
crust.
Yeah,
Like
and
we can
Troll-
have this. Oh, sorry.
you know, and I was going to say, and Troll, Obama was a lawyer and a professor, and you see what that means. I made this very same point on CT's channel earlier today. You know, that means nothing. That doesn't tell me that you're telling the truth. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I mean,
Book,
like
there are links
we could
below.
we could get
So,
digging.
should we panic?
Hold on,
Well,
hold
let-
on. Go ahead. Go ahead.
We could get digging. The center could be chocolate for all we know. We don't know.
Yeah, they don't know.
You interrupted us for that, Alex. Yeah, I did. I'm sorry.
Let's address a few items in the book and see how they compare with known science. But first, let's clear up a few things. I told the story based on what's in the book and in the articles and videos floating around the web. The videos aren't completely accurate. First, you'll hear that Chan Thomas is a made-up name. Because the subject matter was so explosive, he wrote the book under a pseudonym. Well, this isn't true. Dr. Chan Thomas was a real person. Chan is a nickname. His full name was Dr. Chauncey Powers Thomas. He was born in Missouri in 1920 and passed away in 1998. He was married and had children and grandchildren. He was an electrical engineer and he did work for McDonnell
Tom, I
Douglas.
have a
He even
question.
appeared as a UFO expert in a documentary in the 90s.
All right. He was a UFO
How long is this?
That's about.
Yeah, we got less than 10 minutes left. I love her honesty.
You tiring her out.
God, I mean, I like it for what it is. You know, it's interesting to say the least.
It just brings a little levity. It's funny to me because I don't believe it. But continue.
And he was on Johnny Carson on April 7th, 1965 with Ava Gabor.
Well, at no point in this story did I think we'd end up with Johnny Carson and Ava Gabor.
Dr. Thomas wrote a few books, some about the coming cataclysm. He wrote about ESP, UFOs. He wrote one book on how to teach yourself natural childbirth.
Wait, what? What does he know about childbirth? Now, I'm not a biologist, but I don't think men can...
Don't go there. Another thing you'll hear is that the book was originally 284 pages, but the CIA only released 57 of those pages.
Not true?
Nah, the original book was 57 pages. If you look at the table of contents, the conclusion begins on page 45. And some people will say the CIA is withholding documents because pages are missing, like page 8, page 18, page 20, and a few others. Well, they're missing because they're the opposite sides of title pages. In the original book, they're blank. And I could show you this. Someone has a copy. So the CIA document is the whole thing.
Oh, then why classify it?
Well, that's a bit of a mystery. What was classified was the book, an inter-office memo with a shopping list for some tools and car parts, and a folded-up article snipped from People magazine.
Well, that's pretty random.
Yeah, if I had to guess, this document was in the possession of a caseworker, and it was classified just as a matter of course. In 1966, the year it was classified, Dr. Thomas was working at McDonnell Douglas on UFO and anti-gravity technology. He also worked as a project engineer at Bell Labs on a missile guidance system. Chan Thomas was known to be highly intelligent, but very eccentric. The classified documents were probably part of a background report, or maybe someone just keeping an eye on him. You'll hear that the book was banned, but it wasn't. Just this one document was classified. There were copies in circulation. He also published follow-ups in 1971 and 1993, and neither was classified. As for the content of the book itself, Thomas doesn't provide any solid evidence. He makes a lot of deductions from old texts, some of which are pretty big leaps. And it seems like he's borrowing ideas from other catastrophists like Hapgood, Immanuel Velikovsky, and a few others. But he's cherry-picking his favorite parts without giving specifics. For example, his theory about the ice caps knocking the Earth off axis, well, that comes from Hapgood's first book. But after working with scientists, including Albert Einstein, Hapgood issued a follow-up book that explains how he got that wrong. But Dr. Thomas, he sticks with the story. And the liquid crust bit he talks about, he says the Earth's magnetism and electricity become disrupted. He offers no evidence or even an explanation of how it happens, just that it does. Now, there are ice core samples from the eastern part of Antarctica that show it's been covered in ice for at least 1.5 million years. Now, granted, the western side of the continent is a little trickier because it may not have always been covered in ice. But either way, we know for certain it's been down there for a long time. When Chan Thomas released an expanded version of the book in 1993, he didn't make any corrections or provide any new evidence, but he did have chapters on ESP, on UFOs, and on angels. It doesn't read as scientific at all. In fact, it's a hot mess. He jumps all over the place without a cohesive narrative. It feels like he gathered a bunch of ideas he had over the years and then threw them into one final book. So, 2 questions. Was Dr. Chan Thomas a serious researcher? No. But is there evidence to support some of his claims? There is.
Hey, look what Buffalo Mind
Now,
said.
I don't believe Dr. Chauncey Powers Thomas.
All right, what did Buffalo say?
He said, there's audio of either a Russian or I forgot exactly that records the voices of perhaps millions of voices screaming in agony when they reached a part of the earth that scared the shit out of them. Okay,
Yeah.
you know what I don't get about
You
this?
fast forward that.
We got 5 minutes, man.
Okay, go
All
ahead.
right, hold on. I have a question. How the hell? My question would be, how the hell does anyone have any idea how long anything's been covered in ice? No matter what they say, how the hell they gonna know specifically?
They don't.
Because carbon dating is trash.
Thank you. Made up in a lab at University of Chicago. They say that it can accurately describe time from up to 50,000 years, but then they talk about millions of years old. Then core samples. They use core samples. Think about them. This is how
They
you.
can only carbon date back to it's actually 60,000. How
Yeah.
the hell can you say something's millions of years old?
They can't.
I just don't understand, if God is real and God made the earth, then why did he make the earth millions of years ago, but he just put humans here like a couple thousand years ago?
Because he didn't make it millions of years ago. That's conjecture. But we don't know. That's the overarching fact here. No one knows. They are just speculating. They're saying it has to be because then it gives credence to evolution and everything. So
Yeah.
no
We're
one knows.
talking about dinosaurs being here like 65 million years ago. Like, that's a long time to wait before you put humans here.
Based on carbon dating that only goes back 50 to 60,000 years.
Yeah. Well, you
Right?
know.
Yeah, I mean, anyway. All it
Thomas
does
was
is
a serious researcher. Whether he really had ESP or not, I'd rather not get into it. But some of the claims he makes in his book have been proven possible. We know that global floods have happened. The evidence is everywhere. But these floods, specifically from the Younger Dryas, were not from the oceans, they were from the rapid melting of glaciers. Still, they were destructive. They really did create tsunamis 1,000 feet high, and they really raised the sea level hundreds of feet. He says the temperature drops so much and so quickly that everything is instantly frozen solid. He talks about woolly mammoths being frozen with buttercups in their mouths. Now, this is true. Mammoths have been discovered that were frozen in the middle of eating. Now, it takes a long time to freeze a steak, but to flash freeze a mammoth, those conditions would have to be extreme. According to Thomas, seismic activity is one of the reasons the Earth's axis shifts. This is also true. NASA found that the big Indonesian earthquake in 2004 shifted the North Pole about 25 centimeters east, and the Earth's rotation sped up, which decreased the length of a day by 2.7 microseconds. In 2010, an earthquake in Chile did the same thing. The Earth's axis shifted and the day was shortened again. In Japan the following year, it happened again.
Is this a concern?
Not really, no. Earthquakes speed up the Earth a little bit, but the moon slows it down. Things stay pretty well balanced. The shifts aren't anything to worry about. Now, the shifting magnetic poles, that is a concern. We know the Earth's poles flip-flop. North becomes south and vice versa. And geologically speaking, it happens a lot. It's happened hundreds of times. On average, the time between shifts is about 300,000 years. But we haven't shifted in almost 800,000 years, so we're way overdue.
How do we know it's flipped?
Well, because when lava cools, it creates a record of the orientation of past magnetic fields, like a tape recorder records sound.
Ooh, that's pretty cool, actually.
The poles are always moving. In the early 1990s, the North Pole was drifting about 9 miles per year, but that's been steadily increasing. In fact, GPS is updated periodically to account for this, but GPS was being updated every 5 years, then every year, and now every 6 months. The pole is now drifting at almost 40 miles per year, and the Earth's magnetic field is weakening quickly. These are signs that a shift could be coming. So what then? Is that the end of the world? Well, life will go on. Animals that navigate using geomagnetism will be confused, but in a generation or two, they'll figure it out. Animals that don't use magnetism probably won't notice a difference. The geologic record shows no major die-offs during pole shifts, and our species has lived through a few shifts the past 3 million years, and we're still here.
Ugh.
But
Oh no.
our ancestors didn't have satellites or GPS or planes. A lot of our technology is going to go haywire, but code can be rewritten and software can be patched. The real danger is in between the shifts. As we approach a pole shift, the Earth's magnetic field gets tangled up and extremely weakened. This leaves us vulnerable to solar activity. Solar winds, storms, coronal mass ejections, these are bad. Without our magnetic field to protect us, satellites will get fried if they're not hardened. Rates of cancer will increase dramatically. And if you think climate change is a problem now,
Climate change is not a problem now.
yeah, it is.
Don't be a sheep.
Either way, the climate will be very unpredictable. But the biggest danger is our power grids. High enough solar activity could knock out all electricity on Earth for days or weeks, maybe months in some places. To say there will be civil unrest is a huge understatement. When Dr. Chan Thomas released his book, The Adam and Eve Story, it was dismissed as pseudoscience. But in the 50 or so years since it was published, a lot of his claims could be proven. It would seem that, in some cases, the difference between pseudoscience and real science is just time. And if just a fraction of Dr. Thomas's predictions come true, our time is running out. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. My name is AJ, that's Hecklefish. This has been the Y-Files. If you had fun or learned anything, do us a favor, subscribe, share, like, comment. I know I'm a broken record,
Shut
but
up. Shut the absolute fuck up. Shut the absolute fuck up.
Yeah,
Earth
man.
is flat.
So what are we? We're flipping around like a coin,
Yeah.
tumbling.
The Earth is ghetto.
Earth is ghetto.
Yeah.
My wife and her damn dog. Look, man, I'm gonna show you. Look your ass down. Whiny ass dog. Okay, so anyone have any questions? These are fake scientists. Well, I don't know if there's. Well, anyone can be a scientist. It doesn't take a degree to be a scientist. You just gotta actually just put a guess out there.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It doesn't at all.
No.
You know. Now, if you want to be,
if you can observe changes and
You're a
come up with a guess, you're a scientist.
period. unless you want to be recognized by the CDC and the WHO and the NIH, then you might need an MPH, right? But who wants to be recognized by those people? Because they can't get anything right now, can they?
Well,
No.
they just came out with another thing and seeing how some of these things that went in people's arms.
The very thing that they touted as being the best thing for you to take. Yeah. Mhm. I saw that. Mhm.
I was like, wow, so it's amazing how it's you didn't
Investigation
know that
into
it was
Pfizer.
bad.
Now they want to investigate Pfizer, the people they paid untold billions to.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
It's
I haven't heard
amazing.
Illuminated or Mr. Black Sheep speak yet.
Okay, well,
Yeah, I don't know. What's
they know how to
Illuminated
speak.
doing?
Illuminated, my hand is off the trigger, so I am
They
not gonna
probably
press
sleep.
play.
With that all that long mess.
No, I'm not asleep. Just listening.
So, what do you think
After
about any of
being
this?
so-
There, Illuminated. What do you think about?
Well, I've studied that. I studied that. A matter of fact, I've seen they talked about the pole shifting and stuff, but cataclysm. But when you look at that, you have to look at I guess how you want to interpret, because there are some things you have to look at of ancient civilizations. Timothy Alberino and those guys, they go, and those are the things that you have to take into account, because they did exist at one time. Now, the time period in which they exist, is subject to, various interpretations and various sciences and everything. So, the monoliths that was that they've discovered, the guide stones, those giant figureheads with the bodies up under them. Some believe that the Nephilim were or not frozen, but got caught up in that flood. But then there were some that survived. So go figure that. So the fallen angels have a lot to do with where we're at today, period. And some have speculated, and some theories are that that's who's really pulling the strings. That's why they go down to Antarctica, and what we talked about last night about Admiral Byrd. Someone put in the chat, which is an actual fact, that the Russian scientists dug way beyond 11 feet, and they did actually record voices of torment. Some believe that there were gateway to hell, and then there was another castle that Joe Rogan talked about that was on his show. That they said that there was a portal to hell. They actually built a castle around it, and they gave prisoners the opportunity to get their sentence commuted, to go down in the hole, and everyone refused except for one. And when he went down there, and when he came back up, he had aged like years. We're talking decades, and he also lost his mind. So when you take into these various accounts, some of them is 99% strychnine, or 99% corn, but 1% strychnine. So there's elements of truth. It's just, I believe Alex was talking about, it's just about the JFK files. I was watching that today. It was a guy that supposedly took the photograph, and he testified straight up, no, I didn't take that photograph. And it was a date on there, something that he talked about. So all this stuff is hidden. And when Black made the comment about the Library of Alexander of Egypt, they say it was destroyed. They say it was destroyed. And I really believe that the stuff that I'm reading and studying now from a historical perspective, I really don't think it is, because there's 3 areas that my friend of mine and my wife was talking about today. There's 3 areas: the Vatican, the Museum of London, and the Smithsonian. Those 3 have, and then there's probably some others that I'm missing right now. But those three right there, they have tons of information. They only allow to be on display and let loose, or allowed to be looked at for a myriad of time. So it's just one of those things, man. It's just hard. And like I was explaining to someone today, this point of time in your life, you have to question everything. When someone dies and something happens, you just have to question it. So, and then you have to be careful what rabbit hole you go down. Like there's one YouTube short that I listen to, and when they come on there and they talk about things, it just makes you think, and you're like, you know what? That's like you say all the time, Uncle Tom. It's possible. I mean, anything is possible. But when you start, they coming up with the facts like the Euphrates River is drying up. That's a biblical prophecy. They've recorded sounds of chains and sounds there too. So,
but I have a question about that. Even that drying up, what does that mean?
Well, it's according to that. That's when I guess the kings of the East, which would be, I believe, China and Russia, march into Jerusalem for the great battle of Armageddon. Now, that's also the place where Azazel, one of the fallen angels, is supposed to be buried, along with covered rocks and stuff. So, waiting for the great day of judgment. So, for me, I try to stick to as biblical as possible. But when it comes to extra biblical texts, I was showing a friend of mine's in my library. There's a book called by George Pimber. I forget, man, I'm drawing a blank on the title. I just looked at it. But he talked about some things in his book that I got to read and dive into. So all this stuff together, man, and just get a particular subject, research it, and go down a rabbit hole about 4, 5, 6, 7 levels deep, and then and just go from there. And that's the main thing. When we get on these panels, man, a lot of people just spout stuff and have no receipts. We've been a part of those, Uncle Tom, and I can't participate in those no more. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
Mr.
I just
Black
can't do it.
Sheep, I know you haven't said nothing. What's going on? What do you think about what was said in today's vidya?
I didn't catch all of it, I'm going to be honest. But my question is, where did this push against science come from?
That's like, well, I don't think I have a push against science, because science has always been my best subject. But in science, you have to question everything. That's what science is the question of what you don't believe is true or if it's true or not. You have to question those belief systems. So that's what science is all about.
Yeah, that's true. But what you said earlier is that there has to be a consensus. And the consensus is that climate change is a real thing and is impending in some...
Science is not a consensus. It never has been a consensus. It never will be a consensus. There's no such thing as a consensus.
Climate change is a narrative.
Consensus. My definition of a consensus is that the majority of the scientific community agrees on a certain point. You'll always have outliers, therefore you will never have a full consensus.
Well, it depends on Mr. Black Sheep. What are you talking about as far as the percentage-wise? Because just take, for example, what we went through the last 2 years. It was science and doctors that said this thing that we went through is factual. Where on the other side, you had some doctors that had peer-reviewed studies. And like I watched the one thing I like you guys can watch is the interview with Patrick Ben-David with Neil deGrasse Tyson. And he talked about that. And Patrick Ben-David held his own with him because he questioned it. Because you had those people that actually had documentation in reference to what they were pushing. So when you see Fauci saying in 2017 that this administration will go through a pandemic, that lets you know it's planned. All you got to do is just, it's not even really that hard of research to do. Event 201, they had all that stuff there. So I mean,
Did
it's
you just say it was
you can just
planned?
read that. Oh yeah,
I'm sorry,
it was
did you say
planned.
it was planned?
Yes.
Well, they
I will
called
not
it the
stutter.
pandemic
Yes.
for a reason.
Just because
It
there's
was
a
planned.
likelihood of something happening doesn't mean it's planned.
Well, if you want to know my theory behind it,
Well-
because I say it like this. Here's the way I say it about it. Even if I'm not a Bible thumper, and I tell people this all the time. I'm not a Bible thumper. I have read the Bible. Do I memorize it? No. But if you have a game plan, and you said this game plan is going to be put in stone, right? Who is it for the governments not to put it in plan and put it in motion if they already have the plan? The plan is, if you say that the plan is already laid out in your Bible, so why wouldn't they not make it true?
Well,
That's
here's
how I
here's
look
what
at
I here's what I got kicked off with Twitter for. Well, one of many other things, but one of the things that I always used to tweet when I say it's a pandemic, when Judy Mikovits, if you listen to her testimony and how long Fauci has been in government and what he's all been involved in, that raises several red flags for me. And then I go back to us being, people who has pigmentation in their skin, and the Tuskegee Airmen experiment. That settles it for me right there. I don't need to do any more research. I don't have to do anything, but just go ahead and read the documents and the peer-reviewed studies from Dr. McCullough, Dr. Judy, Dr. David Martin, and those guys who have came out against that and came out with the judicial punishment for what they did, because what they did was actual considered to be war crimes, period.
Was that the one
So-
where the U.S. Army experimented on soldiers to see if Agent Orange had any positive or negative effects on black soldiers?
Not
Was that
Agent,
the
not
one
just
you're referring
Agent
to?
Orange, but it was also other things as
okay.
syphilis and all the
They
other
injected
stuff.
they injected black folks with syphilis. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things to where when they say trust your government, no, I don't think so. No.
And the
No.
thing about that is, wasn't you a part of the government? Just because you're a part of something don't mean you still gotta trust it.
Right. Right.
But, you know.
And that's why I say, Black Sheep, when you say, that's why they push Judy and a lot of those people on the other side, like Uncle Tom was talking about, they push them out completely. The frontline doctors and all the rest of them. Dr. Zelenko, may he rest
they
in
was all
peace.
gone.
He's going on now, but
They took their
yeah.
licenses
No,
away.
he actually passed away.
No. They took most of those doctors that was against them. They took their licenses away.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
So what does that
Dr.
tell you?
Zelenko had Dr. Zelenko had the prophylactic protocol, which I still ascribe to today. You know, you can still get his stuff. There's people that's carrying on his work. I'm gonna send you the link, Tom. There was a video. There's a video conference where Dr. Ruby was interviewing this guy. He's a lawyer. And then there was another retired lieutenant colonel. I think he was Delta Force or Special Forces, I think. They held a conference where they broke all this stuff down. Tom Rentz was on there. I mean, all the heavy hitters was on there. Ann Vandersteel talked about citizenship and citizenry and the difference and how you just divest yourself. All that stuff was on there. So next time I come on here, guys, I'll try to get to the link to that so we can put it. I'm on my phone, but we can put it in the back chat so you guys can really just sit down and just watch this stuff, because the truth is out there. And, you know, to your point, Black Sheep, you have to not say get off, but start looking on alternative sites and alternative news media. That's what ended up happening when YouTube did that purge. Everybody came up with their own sites and started doing their own thing. X22 is a good one. SGT Report. Follow those guys. They usually have some really good guests and really good stuff on there. Mike Adams is another one. Natural News. He was the first one that got purged.
You're gonna
There
have
was,
me on the
go
deep
ahead,
dark
sir.
web.
There was a who said that? There was someone that said in the troll. I think it was Buffalo that said something about the screams from hell. They actually have this on not video, but they have the stuff on it. I want to play this video. I don't want to interrupt what you're saying, because if I play it, it's gonna jump on because it has sounds.
Yeah,
So-
that I go back and listen to that video from time to time. I really do. Yep.
So this is what it says is in Finland. Okay, hold on. Let me.
No, I think it was in Russia. I think it was in Russia.
Well, here's what it's saying. I don't know if listen. I don't know none of this. All
No, it wasn't in Russia, but play it.
Yeah, I think this is it right here. I'll bring myself closer so y'all, if y'all want to read this shit. It's backwards, so.
Why is it in reverse?
Copyright shit, just in case. But you know what? I can flip it back. Give me a second.
No, that's cool. No, leave it like that so you won't do the copyright infringement.
I don't think it's gonna be a copyright
No more.
on YouTube. This is a YouTube video someone actually makes. So I don't think it's gonna be. But you know, that's why I do other things as well. That's why I also got my PNG on there.
Drop the thing down, flip it, and reverse it. Is your phone
Alex.
Here we go.
sad?
All right, here we go. Let's play this thing. Oh, I like the jump scares. Yes. Fourteen point four miles. That's not even deep. That's not even deep.
You should have stopped playing this damn music. You just get to.
There we go. You want to read, sir?
I just want to hear the damn sound.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, well let's just get to it.
Where do you hear that?
I missed it? I may have missed it. Oh. Like a bad cassette.
I feel like that's totally human screams, but I just don't believe stuff to think that that's really where they got it.
All that for 12 seconds of distorted audio?
Thank you. I'm
There
like,
was such a fucking build-up there, my guy.
I know.
you know what I mean? It's like, what? You know, I first time I heard it, I'm like, what am I listening to? You know,
It sounds like a crowded mall.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
And another good point is this: if they were able to get audio that far down, why couldn't they get any kind of video?
Yeah, look
It
at
would've
what
been
Trinidad
grainy.
was taking.
I
That
think they
was
just held it up to
would've
the
been
top
grainy.
of the hole and just listened that way.
Yeah, I'm like you had the technology to go 14 miles down and get audio, but you couldn't get even grainy video.
Thank you. And hell, and let me tell you guys, hell is definitely not accessible. I'll tell you that right now. You can't just get there. You can't
So
just
it's the
go down
material.
there in a capsule ship to get down to
No.
hell if that's where you're headed. Yeah, it's not. You don't the veil, whatever there is separating you from hell. Thank God it's there, because you're not getting down there just by drilling.
Unless it's like Doom.
You know, you could, you know.
Well, there.
Well, it is in the world of Doom.
depends on. Well, Black. It depends on. I'm telling you, man. It depends on what your involvement is. If you are into the occult and you're worshiping Satan, I'm not saying you have a direct access to hell, because that's the
I'm
place
saying
of
physical
punishment.
hell.
But
I'm
if you
saying
look at the
physical hell. You can have access to familiar spirits. That's why you're not supposed to deal with familiar spirits. But let's just talk about where the occult came from. Eliphas Levi. You know, Eliphas Levi lived in the 1800s. He created the occult.
Who's that? Anton LaVey?
No.
You talking about Anton LaVey?
No, I'm talking about the
father. Aleister Crowley.
No, not Aleister Crowley. I'm talking about Eliphas Levi. Eliphas Levi is the father of the occult, of Baphomet, of all that nonsense. It was a Catholic priest previously. After that, you know, he never he never came into his own with that, and so he created the he created what we know today as the occult. Aleister Crowley created the Synagogue of Satan.
He also created the religion of Thelema.
Yes.
Well, okay. Well, that's I have a different take on that, because
Hey, Illuminated.
the stuff that yes.
Oh, well, first off, hey, big shout out to you, bro. Glad you came back.
Go ahead.
Second, as far as the recording from hell, so to speak, you said that you've heard it multiple times, right? Have you done a really big deep dive into that recording, as far as like the possibility of if there was any kind of other scientific findings from it, if anyone's tried to study the actual origins? I know you said before that you heard a story that they built a castle around it, but was there any other kind of research to give any kind of validity to its source, or what the sound actually is?
Well, all I know is they did a scientific study on that, and for me, as far as cross-referencing that, no, I haven't done that. But for me, some people say it's a distorted sound. Some people, joked about it and everything else. But for me, all I know is in the last days that everything that is hidden will be revealed. And it's just strange to me why all this stuff is coming to light now. And for me, that's why I say, okay, I try to keep a biblical square or circumference on truth. And I try to validate it, cross-reference, and as we say in the truth movement, vet it. I don't take everything with a grain of salt or swallow everything hook, line, and sinker, but I can definitely do other instances where people have encountered the gateway or portal to hell. Now, as far as that goes, as far as the portal and what Black was talking about, the veil, now this has been documented as far as what CERN has done. CERN said, what they wrote about CERN, they cranked it up, did what they was doing, and they said a portal was open and something did go through. And there's a thing that they call dark matter.
You're referring to the particle collider.
Yeah, CERN.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
All right, hold on one second.
That's
I want
what.
to go ahead. They keep saying the Euphrates have already dried up, so I want to hear what they're talking about because y'all know about the whole dark matter and all that other good stuff and particle matter, and I don't know nothing about this Euphrates drying up, but they said it just finally dried up. So
I know about this. Yeah.
Is one of the most important rivers in the world, spanning from Turkey to Syria and then Iraq. This long stretch of river has been the major source of water in the region for over 10,000 years. But now this ancient river is drying up, caused by terrifying circumstances and plunging millions into an era of unprecedented drought. But the drying of the Euphrates doesn't come as a shock, as it has been predicted in a terrifying prophecy that seems to be coming true, as strange and ancient discoveries have been found underneath the dried riverbed. Discoveries that have left the world in shock. It has now been confirmed that Euphrates River has finally dried up and something terrifying is happening. The Euphrates River holds a special place in human history as it's responsible for creating the Fertile Crescent, a part of ancient Mesopotamia where the first and oldest recorded agricultural practices originally began. In times of old, the Euphrates provided a constant source of clean water for men to practice farming and other agricultural practices which later spread to other parts of the world. Euphrates was also one of the first rivers to be recorded in the Bible, as it was among the 4 rivers that were said to originate from the Garden of Eden. In biblical records, the Euphrates served as a key dividing barrier between the East and West, shaping key events such as wars and invasions that have in turn shaped the distribution of people and power in much of Asia and North Africa. The river's significance spreads as far back as over 450,000 years ago, with Acheulean stone artifacts and the remains of early Homo erectus having been found buried in its banks.
Okay, how do they know? That was over 450,000 years ago. And carbon dating only goes back how many? Up to 60, I think. I want to say 60.
I could have sworn it was 50, but
it could. Well, it's less than 60. So let's put it that way. If it's saying 450,000, there's no such thing as they know. They don't know. They don't know. They're taking guesses.
Yeah, but that's a crazy ass guess.
Huh?
Somebody look it up as to what's the current status of carbon dating.
Okay, so samples that are older than about 40,000 years are extremely difficult to date due to tiny levels of carbon-14. Over 60,000 years old, and they can't be dated at all. So, yeah, you're right, Tom. They can accurately date to 40, and then when it gets up to and over 60, they can't date it. And it's just,
they're
again,
just guessing in the fucking wind. They're like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's say look about 450,000. That look good to you?
They're basically just taking some wild ass guesses, stabs in the dark.
They are. It's not. I don't believe anything they say about dating of anything. And then when they talk about flash freezing, based,
And the thing is, I personally listen. Humanity just didn't start 60,000, 70,000 years ago. I don't even think they're saying it lasted 60,000 years ago. I don't think they. How long are they saying?
Okay, so. Some people are saying, Bible numbers are saying that it started 6,500 years ago.
6,500. That's 6,000.
Yeah, people are saying it's 6,500 years ago, and they are, of course, trying to get. They have some scientific discoveries that would quantify that, and especially history that quantifies that. But then there are people, of course, who are what do you call them? Evolutionists who believe that this round marble supposedly is billions of years old.
I think it's 4.5.
Say again.
The last estimate I heard was 4.5 billion.
Exactly, and based on quote core samples, etc.
And apparently, according to evolution, modern humans have existed for 200,000 years.
Evolution was a farce.
Yeah.
So Black, how old do you think the Earth is?
I have no idea. I'm not even. I can't even speculate. I just know that, if I were to guess, maybe I'd say I believe more of the 6,500-year-old idea, just because, everything.
That idea. I like the idea part.
Yeah, because that's what it is. It's an idea. I can't say that that's the truth, and they, because we can accurately date that far. We can find texts that are that old. You know what I mean? But before that, we don't have any clue. They just guess. Everything is guesstimated. Everything. And so I just and the evidence that they have supposedly uncovered is it's shaky at best. Especially what was that? What was his name? I can't pronounce.
What did they do? What did they do when it was a polygod system, when they wasn't writing shit on walls and shit? They were just living just to fucking live.
When it was a polytheistic system.
That's where you get into ancient civilizations. So for me and my friend go back and forth with this as far as biblical text. Biblical text states, according to Reese Chronological Bible, they put John 1:1 first. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. Then they insert Psalms 90. Then they insert Genesis 1. In the beginning, God created. Then they insert Isaiah chapter 14, which talks about the fall of Lucifer. And they give that whole biblical account. And then they insert Genesis 1:2, where it says the earth was without form and void. So the argument between biblical scholars and theologians is some do not believe in the gap theory, which is sometimes called pre-Adamites, that there was something here before and God recreated the earth. So there's that theory and that argument that goes back and forth, long before I got into
to make it a little bit short. They don't know.
Yeah, they don't know. Nobody knows.
Well, no, I'm just saying if you think about it, Tom, if you're saying God recreated the earth before, and there was something here before us, then that might support the 450,000, millions of years and all the rest of that other stuff. I don't know. Like you said, I really don't know.
I can go with that. I can go with that. If you want to put that out there, I can go with that. Cool, sure. What y'all saying by him recreating is just him flooding out and starting over and saying, "Look, I'm gonna put these motherfuckers on here this time. Let's try with these motherfuckers, see if they get it right."
But I'm saying there's no. But nothing biblically supports him recreating. It's just he created
the heavens and the earth.
No, if you look at the Hebrew word, if you look at that Hebrew word, there is. And when I looked it up in the Strong Concordance, I can't look it up on my phone now. If you just go to
I know Strong
Bible.com and look at it, it talks. Strong suit. It talks about creation and recreating. And then the only time the earth is without form and void, as far as scriptural text, is found in Jeremiah chapter 4 verses 20 through 23. So Jeremiah was way after the quote unquote.
Yeah, Strong's Concordance is good, but it isn't a good source for that. There's a better resource, a Greek resource that translates from the Hebrew, and I can't remember the name of it. And it's more vetted from.
You're talking about the Septuagint now. before you can translate Greek, Hebrew was the original language.
But no, Hebrew wasn't. Aramaic
Hebrew
was.
into Greek.
But I know, but I'm saying Strong's Concordance is not a valid source, is my point. I'm saying, I can't remember it. I'll get back to you with what I'm talking about. But the one that I'm speaking about has all the Greek theologians and non-Greek theologians. And non-theologian Greek masters, as it were, come together and created this, and it's a better source by far. And I just give me a moment to remember. But
we can continue if you want until y'all can get y'all thoughts together, because I'm in the know of I don't know.
No, but yeah, exactly. That's my whole point is they don't know. Nobody knows, and I just am saying because if we want to go there, we can talk about midrash. Midrash is the practice of Jewish or Hebrew rabbis coming together and creating chronological order.
And I thought they couldn't even translate the Aramaic stuff. I thought they.
If you're talking about, bruh, hold on. If you're talking about the Midrash and the Talmud, the Talmud comes from Babylonia. Okay?
Not the Talmud, but I'm talking about
the Pharisees went the same thing. Both of them are extra. Or if you get off into Hebraic studies, those are extra Torah writings written by rabbinical scholars and rabbis.
Right.
The law is Moses and the Torah. Now, when you talk about the captivity and when they got carried away into Babylon, you have to be very careful, because now you're starting getting off into some things to where what they started practicing in Babylon, and I'm doing a study on this now, and just what I uncovered, everything that I thought about the Talmud and the Midrash, I've thrown out the window. That's all I'm going to say about it, because I'm doing a serious deep dive on this, and the people that I'm following and reading and doing research on and reading the text, it throws a lot of stuff what we who are supposed to be Bible believers, I don't like saying Bible thumpers, who are supposed to be followers of Christ, it's all coming out now. Because what's going to come out about those group of people who are supposed to be protected and supposed to be God's chosen, air fingers quote, we're going to find out. Two scriptures in the book of Revelation says, you tried those who are Jews and are not. And here's one of the biggest misinterpretations that we as believers misunderstand. On the inscription of the cross, it was written in Latin, Greek, and Hebrew, I believe.
Yeah, and Aramaic.
In Latin, we have always, Aramaic, we've always interpreted as, here's Jesus, King of the Jews. That's incorrect. The actual Latin translation was Jesus, King of Judea. So now you switched it from an ethnic group to a geographical location. Now you're getting ready to pull the curtain back and find out who the real wizard is. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Well, yeah, but I agree with you. But Judea, go ahead.
Yeah, Judea is a location.
Yeah, Judea is a location when they're separated.
People.
Yeah, two different people.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, we understand that Messiah was supposed to come through the tribe of Judah.
Yeah, exactly.
So Judah and Judea is a location.
Yeah, exactly.
Jews is a bastardized term of Judah.
Judah.
Yeah. So
look. If your argument is the people who are claiming such titles are
keep going.
Are
who they say they are
charlatans. Okay, I am in full agreement with you. Okay, I'm not making the argument that they are.
I know who Schmitty is.
Okay, and I'm definitely not making the argument that Midrash is a
You gotta scroll up.
a sound practice at all. I just made the point that if you're talking about
Well, like I said, when I put this thing together, I'll present it to you guys, and then you guys draw your own conclusion. But one thing I will tell you about me, I'm coming with freaking receipts. So that's what my whole channel. Me and Tom already talked about this. When you come on our channel, man, it's gonna be about receipts. All this out in you, I trust Black because you're a very intelligent person, along with Jay, Sandra, and some of the other people that he's allowed. Even, the people that I met on this post. Even Black Thought, he's okay. He's okay.
I want to ask you guys real quick though. Have any of you, and if you could, Tom, because it goes with the topic we're on right now, have any of you seen the video of the horn sounding in the sky that's been recorded? People have actually recorded sounds of horns coming from the sky, and they can't explain where it's coming from.
Oh yeah. Those, I think, I don't know if you can find those videos anymore, Jay. I haven't seen those videos on YouTube in a while.
There was a channel that posted it. I'm not going to promote another channel, Tom. Don't worry. There was a channel who posted it, and I saw him post it. I want to say about a year ago, where I believe they were somewhere in the Middle East before. Come on, man. We're trying to talk about Armageddon here, man. We gotta be serious.
I'm not talking about Armageddon. I'm talking. Listen, y'all talking about Armageddon. I'm trying to hear what the hell
These are all the
people
signs.
saying.
Listen, we're literally seeing the prophecy about the Euphrates drying up. Okay,
I'm listening to
I'm
you,
talking
Jay.
about the video.
Y'all know about this shit. I just want to be like.
It was one of the horns. One of the horns when the seal is broken, you hear the horns are sounding in the sky. When one of the 7 seals is broken, there was a video recorded of someone hearing what was exactly like a horn blowing up in the sky.
It was a.
No, I'm gonna
I'm
start
sorry, bro.
playing horns
My
in
phone
the
is
sky
breaking up,
too.
so I don't mean to interrupt you, but
Let me hold on. Let me get my horn.
They trumpets, Jay.
Huh?
You talking about Jay? You talking about the shofar, correct?
Say that one more time.
You're talking about the shofar, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So there was, there was sounds that was recorded even over Israel, and then there was sounds that people have, according to what you're saying, in some other locations. I forget where they were exactly, but I hadn't seen those videos, man, in a couple years, bro.
Me either. So let's get on to this video that we got sitting right here about the Euphrates.
Okay. All right.
Damn it, man.
So we're gonna do the interruption again like we did last night. Go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and
Wait, Uncle Tom, let me say this.
Oh my God.
Wait, Uncle Tom. Let me say this. And the word was in the Bible that God didn't make the earth void and without form. It became void and without form.
Okay. Y'all talking
Hold on,
semantics.
Uncle Tom. Let me get my interruption in. Let me get my interruption in. All right. If aliens exist, how is that?
Is this a nigger telling me what to do?
Your current religion, right? Because the Bible says He made man in His image. So if there's extraterrestrial life, then you're not the only one He made in His image.
That's okay. I agree with you.
I have a theory about that. I have a theory about that.
Add on to that real quick.
Listen,
How long
y'all
do you-
goddamn theories, man.
It's just a theory though, because when God says He made it in His image, I believe that what He means is the anamorphic image that humans.
Is this a nigger telling me what to do?
That wasn't me that time. That wasn't me that time. I don't even have. Listen, my hands are in my shirt.
Miss Tom, I'm gonna need your
Make
assistance
man
now.
in our image. What was he talking about?
My theory was this, and I've had this discussion multiple times. What I believe is when God says in the Bible that He made man in His image, was the actual anamorphic shape that humans take: head, torso, arms, legs. Even when you have extraterrestrial described.
Young man, you've been found guilty by a jury of your peers. The crime you've committed was very serious. Before I sentence you, I'd like to say a few words about your arrest record. What the hell?
I was literally about to finish my point. When extraterrestrials are described, they're described no different than having a head, torso, arms, legs. All of them have always been described that way in every encounter, meaning that the image of God is literally that shape, that anamorphic shape.
Okay.
Hold on now. Hold on.
Like
We
I
got
said,
people.
Jay,
Hold on.
He said, "Let us make men." Us. Keyword us. Let
on.
us make man in our
That is
image.
correct.
Because now we got people.
Okay, hold on. I want to hear Black Sheep. He the only one that ain't said nothing crazy yet.
Because
Go
now
ahead.
we got people disproving science because of things that aren't provable, believing in things that aren't provable.
Oh,
do you feel me? So it doesn't make so this all your arguments just don't make sense in that case.
To you.
Well, my friend,
He has
that's
a
where
point.
faith comes in.
He
at.
has a point.
So-
That's what. But what he's
Yeah,
saying
but you
is
can't prove faith.
that. Ooh, say it again for him, Black Sheep.
You can't prove faith.
You can't
Like,
prove theories
there-
either.
Well,
there's only theories. You can't prove theories
you
either.
can test
You're
theories.
saying
You
that we
can't-
can't
you can
prove
test them,
what?
but you can't
What
prove
do you, my phone's breaking up. What did he say?
You can't prove.
Go ahead. Repeat what you said.
What did he say, Tom?
Repeat what you said.
You can't prove faith. So if faith is a theory within itself, how can you then just turn around and say science is all bullshit?
You think it too
No
much.
one said that.
No one said
Okay.
science is BS.
Yeah, no one said that.
That's basically what I'm
No.
getting from the conversation earlier.
Who said okay?
Like certain people believe.
He's referring to when Blacks and Tom were saying, how can anyone prove how old any of these items are when carbon dating is faulty? That's what he's actually referring to.
It's not
That's what
just
that's what he's drawing the
it's
parallel.
BS. I mean, if you break down the way they if you break down the way they do carbon dating, they take the closest rock to whatever they find, and they test a nucleus inside of that said rock, and that's how they get the general date behind it. That's how they do because I think this is bullshit. It's BS.
So if that's the case, do you think that rocks
Jay-
in Hiroshima? If that's the case, do you think rocks in Hiroshima and Nagasaki would break your theory of carbon dating if those nuclei are radiated to a certain degree, in which would last thousands upon thousands of years?
I'm
What?
not saying it. Now, explain it. Say it again.
If you just said that they take the nucleus of a rock
Mhm.
and test it, right, to see how old that rock is.
They test the
If that
carbon,
rock-
the
Yes.
carbon inside the nucleus of the rock. Yes, go ahead.
So if the carbon is radiated, such as in a way of Nagasaki or Hiroshima, would they be able to date that further back? If that makes sense. It probably don't, and I'm just talking out of my ass.
No, it doesn't make sense. And no, because a lot of like, for instance, what Chernobyl, for instance, they said nothing would be able to live there for 1,000 years, and now they're
Shit's
finding plant life. It's has overtaken the place. Packs of wolves, deer. You know, I'm saying, you know, their science, what they said was irrefutable, has been disproven.
Yeah.
So it wasn't by somebody testing a quotient of any kind in a laboratory.
Hold on now.
Okay.
By live there, they meant human life would not be able to sustain
No.
But if you look at it,
Because
hold on,
if
if
you're
you look
looking
at it,
Because if you're looking at life in general, they didn't say human life. They said life in general. Okay. Now, plant life, you can make the argument. Okay. Plants can absorb different toxins and expel them. But when we're talking about wolves, whole packs of wolves, and we're talking about other living creatures that require
Like-
outside sources of energy like water and grains and meat and blood and sinew and bone, then that holds more weight than them just saying, than them telling me that for 1,000 years living beings can't live there. Okay.
Well, you gotta understand that the nuclear energy and everything else that comes from it is coming from the Earth anyway. So all it did was return to the Earth.
Yeah, but it's not refined in the same way.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's refined the same way. It's still part of the Earth. You can't.
It is, but when you have plutonium, yeah, but plutonium, right, that you mine from the Earth is not the same as weapons grade because it hasn't
I
decayed.
agree with you. I agree with you that. I agree with you there. But everything that comes from Earth automatically goes back to it once it dissipates.
Yeah, it'll end up degrading, forever
I'm saying.
particles and all of that. But it's just, that's my point. I'm saying no one is saying science is completely bunk, but what I'm saying is
No.
it's not irrefutable.
Correct. Now, to that point, to Jay's point, I don't want to lose this train of thought. What you're talking about is anthropomorphisms.
Yes.
Anthropomorphism. So what you're talking about, and to Sandra's point, is when the scripture says us,
yeah,
man is a tripart being. If you believe this or not, man has a body, we have a soul, and a spirit. We're tripart.
Trinity.
You know, so God, quote unquote, doesn't have, quote unquote, he's a spirit. But Moses said, I desire to see you. And God said, no one can look upon me and live, but I'll put you in the cleft of the rocks and I'll let you see my back parts. And he passed by Moses, and then that's what he showed. Now, in the Old Testament, where people get confused it's a thing called Christophanies. These are one of the appearances of the member of the Trinity, the angel of the Lord. Like when Joshua bowed down, he said, take off thy shoes because the ground you're standing on is holy. And he said, who are you? And then he said, I'm the captain of the host. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have a question. This is a simple question. I need a simple answer. How many
I'm
of
going to
them
land the
people-
plane quickly. I'm not even going to take off.
How many people wrote a book inside the Bible that actually walked with Jesus? Go.
How many? 12.
Yeah. How many?
12.
They actually wrote the book.
Through God, they were.
12.
No. I didn't say through God. I said, did they write the book?
God told them what
Well,
to say.
let's clarify that.
Oh my God! Listen, God can tell a lot of people what to say, but I'm saying the people that actually walk with Jesus
Hold
write
on.
the book.
I will.
I want to say four.
People that actually walk with Jesus, his 12 disciples.
I want to say four.
Okay.
His 12 disciples did write books in God's word. Now, then you had, of course, Moses, who did not walk with Jesus, but was, of course, the precursor.
Those are the old. That's the old covenant.
I'm just talking about old. I'm just talking about old covenant. We're talking about God's word. Old covenant. 5 books. I mean, the original 5 books. But beforehand, the 12 did write things that are in God's word now.
Yeah, but he means books in the Bible, though.
Say again.
He's referring to books that are actually in the Bible, correct, Tom? You said, how many of the disciples wrote actual books in the Bible? I don't know. I'm guessing 4. I don't think each disciple wrote, because Judas Iscariot didn't write a book in the Bible.
No.
And most people don't know there were 2 Judases that were his disciples. Iscariot was the one who betrayed him.
Well, it was.
It was a
with
question.
someone,
Let Illuminated answer.
Say again.
I said,
Matthew.
let Illuminated answer.
Who said? Whoa, who's that? Matthew wrote. Mark was a disciple of Peter, so he was more or less like what you would call a secretary. He wrote the accounts of what Peter saw with Jesus. Luke was a physician. John actually walked with Jesus. And Paul, who did not walk with Jesus, which they but is the credit to be the 13th apostle. He
Mm.
wrote more of the Testament than any others. So it is correct. Not all 12 disciples wrote books. James, which was the half brother of Jesus, along with Jude. So there you go.
So John, Peter, James, Judas, Matthew.
So according to is what we're trying. I'm fucking with y'all. I just wanted to move on to get it off there. So let's go with this. Euphrates drying the hell up for the 15th time. I'm trying to play this video.
And Peter was the first pope.
Oh, y'all gonna make me push
Euphrates is the longest river in Asia. Together with the river Tigris, makes up the Fertile Crescent. The river flows through steep gorges and canyons in Turkey, then through lowlands in Syria, before cutting clear across Iraq and entering into the Persian Gulf. But this
So that through all that, I didn't see no niggers living there. So I just wanted to lay that out there. How did life start in Africa if there was no niggas in the Euphrates? This ain't
ancient river is now drying up with a significant drop in
why
water
you being
levels
messy?
across the length
Why
of
you
the
being
river's
messy?
path.
You always
Most places
messy.
in the lower part
You're like,
of the
why is he
river,
being
mostly in
agnostic?
Iraq, the river has completely dried up, with the riverbed completely invisible.
Ignorant.
What used to be submerged underwater, now barren lands of cracked soil. In most places where the water has dried up, farmlands have become barren as there is no source of irrigation.
So I have another question. Right? If Jesus, it was talking about the Euphrates River, is that nowhere near Africa, is it? No.
The map they showed it only went through the Middle East.
Oh damn, that's crazy. How was Jesus a Negro? I just wanted to. We're gonna keep going.
Irrigation water across, pushing villages into unusually long droughts. Fishing economies of these locations.
I can't hear words y'all
now
saying. My phone breaking up real bad.
Whatever small pools of
Don't worry
water
about
are
it.
left
Don't worry
are
about it.
contaminated or undrinkable.
You probably
The
have an
once
answer for why Jesus was a
fertile
Negro.
crescent that gave birth to the world's agriculture is now a
Oh my
desolate land.
goodness.
It is
Boy,
now
I tell you,
practically unrecognizable
there will be no
from the
Jesus
last
slander on
decade.
this channel.
But the question is, what caused this once powerful flowing river to dry up almost overnight? What does it mean for those who depend on its waters to survive? While there is something biblical and almost unnatural that is believed to have caused the river to dry up, the slew of strange things that have been found underneath the river, there have been a string of human activities that have added to the river's untimely demise. The Euphrates makes up a large part of the economies of Turkey, Syria, and Iraq, with each country tapping into the river's vast resources to maintain agriculture, hydroelectric power plants, and irrigation water for farming. All three countries have had numerous clashes regarding the control and usage of the Euphrates, with Turkey having the most control over the flow of the river as it originates from the Armenian mountains in east.
Did they put up a dam? The reason why it dried up, I don't know. Y'all know? No one knows about a dam that was
Nope.
made. Oh, okay. Well, shit.
Nope.
It's Turkey.
It's drying up
Treaties
because
between
God
these
said
three
it would.
countries go as far back as World War I, when the borders in
I
and
don't know.
around the region were drawn following the Treaty of Lausanne in 1923. The treaty stipulated how the three riparian states of the Euphrates would utilize the water in a way that would be mutually beneficial to all three countries along the river's length. This included any future dams or construction of hydraulic installations that would be placed on the river to generate hydroelectricity. Considering the number of dams built by Turkey would significantly affect the flow of the Euphrates into Syria, with much of its effect being placed on Iraq. An agreement was reached in 1946 in which Turkey agreed to report any hydraulic changes or constructions on the Euphrates River.
So they did build a dam. I was right. Y'all motherfuckers don't know nothing.
Yeah, but that wouldn't
Now
stop the
Iraq to
flow of the
construct
Euphrates.
dams on Turkish
Well,
territory
if
to
they're
manage
doing
the flow
stuff
of the
to slow it
Euphrates
down, of
such
course
that
it
the
would.
population within Iraq is not adversely affected
would.
by any such
Yeah, but not to the point of
constructions
drying
made by
up.
Turkey. Syria
It's a
and
hydroelectric,
Turkey
and you
were
need
the
to flow in
first
order to get energy.
complete hydroelectric dams on the Euphrates,
Okay.
barely within a year of each other, to fill reservoirs in 1975.
They're diverting it
Coincidentally,
to fill
the entire
reservoirs.
Fertile Crescent was hit with severe drought, which, in addition to the newly built dams, caused a significant reduction in the river's flow to Iraq. Iraq, which normally experienced over 15 cubic kilometers of water flow in 1973, saw a significant reduction to barely 9 cubic kilometers in 1975. This resulted in a significant crisis within Iraq, pushing the nation to threaten to bomb the Tabqa Dam in Turkey, which was a major cause of the reduction in the river's flow to Iraq. Following a series of negotiations, an agreement was eventually reached between the three nations in which the dams were subsequently opened, increasing the flow of the Euphrates down to Iraq. But that was only the first in a series of crises involving the flow of the Euphrates, with Iraq almost always getting the short end of the stick, as dams and reservoirs being built in Turkey and Syria resulted in a reduction in the flow of water down to the Iraqi plains. Following a bilateral agreement in 1989, there seemed to be a consensus between Syria and Iraq, with Syria agreeing to release 60% of the amount of flowing water it received from Turkey into Iraq. This agreement lasted for over 20 years with no significant disagreements between the three nations on the rationing of water from the Euphrates. This was until Turkey rolled out the Southeastern Anatolia project, also known as GAP. Amongst the three nations, Turkey and Syria have more dams and hydroelectric power plants on the Euphrates, with Syria having over 6 major dams located on the Euphrates alone, and Turkey having well over 22 dams and hydroelectric power plants, all situated along the Euphrates and Tigris River. Iraq, on the other hand, barely has 2 major dams on the Euphrates, both of which are in poor condition as they were built in the late 80s.
Okay, so can we say that it didn't dry up due to natural causes? It dried up due to human ignorance.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you say.
Yeah, well, that's what you say. All I know is there's somebody buried up under there, so we're gonna find out that, something.
I don't know about all that, but
real soon.
I don't either. I'm just gonna
have to believe
say.
it.
I've seen it.
I'm not saying anything about beliefs. I said
Continuous reduction of water inflow from the Syrian end of the Euphrates River. Syria on its own has the Tabqa Dam, which is the country's largest reservoir, located on Lake Assad, with over 500,000 hectares of farmlands depending on the dam for irrigation and drinking water. Both Syria and Turkey have also built smaller dams.
I would like to say I'm glad I don't live in
tributaries
that type of
and
area where I
streams
can just
connected
cut on
to
my
Euphrates,
water
further
hole.
maximizing the river's potential, much to the detriment of Iraq. The launch of the GAP project was Turkey's way of harnessing the irrigation and hydroelectricity production potential of the Euphrates River for its southeastern provinces. The project provides for a total area of 80,000 square kilometers and affects over 10 million people and provides irrigation water to nearly 1 million hectares of agricultural land located in the Euphrates Basin, which makes up over 20% of the irrigable land in all of Turkey. The construction of the Ataturk Dam as part of the GAP project was a significant win for the Turkish people, standing over 600 feet high and nearly 6,000 feet long and capable of holding over 90% of the total discharge of the Euphrates. While this is all impressive high temperatures, this has led to an unprecedented increase in evaporation, which has facilitated the total loss of water from these regions. Climate change and increased surface temperature on the planet have aided in surface water evaporation, which previously affected areas now experiencing devastating droughts. A recent study into the annual evaporation of reservoirs in the regions has it that Turkey experiences an estimated 2 cubic kilometers of annual evaporation, with Syria experiencing 1 cubic kilometer of evaporation, and Iraq experiencing over 5 cubic kilometers of annual evaporation across its regions. But while the subsequent droughts currently experienced along the Euphrates River could be attributed to the construction and closure of dams across the river, there are other opinions regarding the current state of the Euphrates. There are biblical references that make mention to a prophecy regarding the drying up of the Euphrates, which we are seeing unfold in today's world. In the Old Testament of the Bible, the Euphrates played a critical role as it was one of the very first rivers to originate from the Garden of Eden, and also acted as a means of support for the Israeli army. The ancient Babylonians and Assyrians built their empire in what is referred to today as Mesopotamia, which is the current area of land surrounded on both sides by both the Euphrates and the Tigris rivers. According to biblical references, the Euphrates flowed through Babylon as it served as the city's source of nourishment for its crops and provided water for the Babylonian people. In a nutshell, the city of Babylon could not have survived without the Euphrates, and archaeological records would show that the Babylonians built structures in and around the Euphrates River. But just as the Euphrates River served as a protective barrier around the Babylonian Empire, it also played a key role in the downfall of one of the earliest advanced civilizations in human history. Ancient archaeological records state that the city of Babylon was captured by the Persian army, which was only made possible as the Persians were able to divert the flow of the Euphrates, completely cutting off one section of the river and proceeding to invade Babylon at night, marching across the riverbed itself. But the book of Revelations tells us a horrifying prophecy of the drying up of the Euphrates. According to Revelation 6:12, which says, "And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water therefore was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared." This portion of the Bible holds a striking resemblance to what we are currently seeing happening on the Euphrates today, as the waters have dried up at a much faster pace than has ever been recorded in history. According to the book of Revelations, during the end times, the sixth angel of God will cause the Euphrates to dry up, but it also revealed something more terrifying could emerge from the dry underground bed of the Euphrates. Revelation 9 verse 13 to 15 says, "Then the sixth angel blew his trumpet, and I heard a voice speaking from the four horns of the gold altar that stands in the presence of God. And the voice said to the sixth angel who held the trumpet, 'Release the four angels who are bound to the great Euphrates River.' Then the four angels who had been prepared for this hour and day and month and year were turned loose to kill 1/3 of all the people on earth." According to this portion of the Bible, 4 fallen angels were bound in chains under the Euphrates River. And during the last days, as the river begins to dry, the angel of God will cause these fallen angels to be loose upon the earth to wreak havoc during the days of the apocalypse.
Why are they white and we know they're all
this
not looking
may
like
simply
that?
sound like religious annotations, but there have been some strange occurrences observed on the riverbed of the
Fucking
Euphrates, as
colonizers.
people have been venturing into areas of the river that were
All right, hold on. We just seen a picture of where the Euphrates was. Let's go back. Let's go back to that picture real quick. Where's it at? Come on, give me the picture, bitch. Come on. Oh, it's not gonna show me. Anywho, we all seen the pictures of the damn dude, and none of these angels were white. I just want to let y'all know that there were Arabic-looking type people that hold each other's pockets,
And they
walk
don't
down
have
the
wings
street.
either.
They love Man Love Thursdays. Just saying. If you've been to Afghanistan, there was
Stop
such
it.
thing.
Do not interject that stuff in this.
riverbed of the
Let's continue on with the video,
people have
please,
been
sir.
venturing into areas of the river that were previously
love it when
inaccessible
Illuminated is
to their
here.
own water. People have discovered
Everybody
caves
know
and
about Man
caverns
Love
in
Thursdays.
strange
We know
shapes
about that.
that are
Thank
not
you very
common
much.
to any caves that could have been constructed by man. Some of these caves have a striking similarity to prison bars designed to hold someone or something prisoner. And in addition to these weirdly shaped caves, archaeologists and even common people have recorded various terrifying sounds coming from the ground. Some have described the sounds as noises of groaning and agony that would simply make your skin crawl and give you nightmares. People have recorded groans and growls, with some even stating they have heard what could be likened to moving chains originating from under the earth. Religious bodies have explained this to be the fulfillment of biblical prophecy, but that leaves one major question. If the drying up of the Euphrates is indeed the fulfillment of prophecy, does that mean fallen angels will soon emerge to wipe out 1/3 of the human population? These questions have led to even more questions that they have provided answers to. But what we do know for a fact is that the region surrounding the Euphrates River is threatened with a desertification that could wipe out nearly 40% of the region, with reduced annual rainfall and the subsequent drying up of the river.
Okay, all right. I'm glad that's done because that was brutal.
There is an incredible and dangerous world. And it's
So what I'm gonna say is, I think when they're talking about wiping out 1/3 of the population, it's just all those Arabians, motherfuckers, people over there. That's what I think that they're doing. They're gonna wipe them mofos out because we're better than them. That's why Africa wasn't shown in there. That's why I said Africa wasn't. You believe in Pangea and all that other stuff is gonna wipe out those people over
need
there.
to stop.
Us
You
over here in America is fine. I'm just saying.
You seriously need to stop. You
don't
seriously
believe that?
need to stop.
You believe it's going to be the whole world, or do you think it
What-
should be the people over there? Because they're the
Well,
one that's suffering from the water not being
Let's
there.
look at it. Yeah, hold on. Check this out. If you said, they're going to release the four horsemen, which they talk about, the white horse, the red horse, the black horse, and the pale horse, rather. So, plague, wars, death. You look at those titles of what they're supposed to be doing, and then you flip that over to the doctrine of the Georgia Guidestones. If you look at that, the Georgia Guidestones, what did they say? The first commandment was what? Reduce the world's population to 500 million people. So, though they're not speaking biblically, you line those two up, sounds about right, 1/3, globally. Not just one region, Tom, globally.
I think it's one region. The reason I say it's one region, right, is because we all know America is better than all the rest of them.
Put your white sheet on it. What do you say? Is this a nigga telling me what to do?
Is this a nigger telling me what to do? Is this?
Yo, I'm just saying.
Really, though?
Africa was shown in the
Sorry,
video,
Jay, I
right?
couldn't help myself.
But there was a whole. See, it didn't bother Africa. It only bothered them long string black haired people that look like they love Man Love Thursdays. I'm just saying.
What is Man Love Thursday?
Hey.
You don't know nothing about Man Love
Oh,
Thursday?
see, there you,
Man.
See, there you go. Why you shift the conversation?
I don't know what the
Why
hell
you
he
do
keeps
that,
on bringing it
Tom?
up.
Why you do that?
No.
Okay, we're
Thank you, Miss Tom. Thank you.
No.
Hold on.
No,
We're
we
gonna
need to talk about it. It's gross. No.
we're gonna talk about Man Love Thursday on another day. But it's
Probably
pretty
Thursday.
Thank you.
funny. Probably Thursday.
I just didn't know what that shit was. He keeps on bringing it up. That's all.
Just saying.
Apologies.
Hey,
I don't know about
Jay,
this shit.
and I'll put it to you like this in a nutshell. You had to be there to understand it.
Is it some gay shit? 'Cause that's what it
That's
sounds
all
like.
I'm gonna say.
Of course it's
And
gay
it
shit.
deals-
It says Man Love
And it
Thursday.
deals with Hey, Jay, it deals with a particular region for those who was on deployment. So, yeah.
Those people in
Anyway,
wait,
back
wait,
to the
Afghanistan?
text at hand.
Wait, was this about the dude who's talking about getting pissed on and pissed in?
No.
Okay.
No, that was Simon.
That was some other
Where's
shit.
Miss
right
Tom
there,
at
man.
when you need it?
Hey, how did your date go, Double Bruce?
Where
That's
is
one
Miss
let you
Tom?
know. He had a little date. Oh, let me get everyone together. I'm sorry. There we go.
Where's Miss Tom at when you need her?
She's here. She's the one talking trash in the back.
No, she's speaking sense. Is your behind is one that's speaking trash.
No, I'm not. No trash speaking here. No trash. No, I literally
Anyway.
think, okay, this whole conversation was good. And I like the conversation because I didn't know a lot of stuff about the Euphrates as I learned today. I knew a little bit, but not. I just don't understand what that got to do with killing out 1/3 of the whole world population. I just think it's going to be the people over there because they suck.
No, when you have to read the Book of Enoch to understand this, but when you
I read
have
parts of it.
four,
I read parts of it.
yeah, right. When you have four fallen entities that was once located in a specific area, in a location, and they know they're going to be judged and they're going to be bound and punished for what they did because they committed the most cardinal sin, which is mixing angelic DNA with human DNA. And that was a forbidden sin, and plus taught mankind what we call forbidden knowledge. It was a great website I used to go to, man. And I think if WordPress took that doggone thing down, Tom, you would have loved that website. Man, they had some stuff on there, bro, that'll make your head spin. But when they did the internet purge, they took that site down. But it's another one up. It's not as informative as that one was. But back to the thing at hand. Let me land this plane. So think of it this way: if you knew that there was no possible way of redemption. There was no way that you could, redeem yourself or anything like that. And God created these dirt bags and showed all this affection toward them. Wouldn't you be pissed too? You'd be like, okay, since he loved these people so much, let me go ahead and just wipe half of them, 1/3 of them out.
Why? Okay,
I
well,
look at it from that perspective.
why not knock out half of them? I mean, sheesh. And
Nope,
how? It
1/3.
doesn't say how they're
1/3.
gonna knock out 1/3 of it. How they gonna do it?
Yes, it is. Yes, they do.
What
Just
what
read
it
the book
say?
of Revelations, my friend.
I'm not gonna read it.
No, just read the book of Revelations about the 4 horsemen.
It's just gonna be boils
penny
and
a
lake
week
of
for barley.
fire
We're looking
and
at that
pit
now
stuff.
No. Just read the 4 horsemen where it talks about the ones he talked about, chapter 9. I can't get it on my phone because I'm on my phone right now. I usually have my computer. But on the 9th chapter, it tells you what each horseman is designed to do, and that's how they're going to wipe out pestilence, starvation, wars and rumors of war, and then tormenting men. Now that goes back into transhumanism, Jay. Where
You know what? I agree with you. That sounds like what they want to do over there. Because you look at it over there, they're starving over there. They ain't got no water to drink and stuff. But over here, I can go to my thing and go, psh, you know what I'm saying? So we good over here. That's why I said it's strictly going to be over there. That's what I think.
Okay. Anyway, Jay.
I'm gonna let you land the plane just a second. Eliminated. I just want to say this real quick to Tom. Give me 1 second, please. Tom, you mean to tell me you believe that even if you're not a believer, and you read the stories, that beings who are immaterial that could transmute to the physical realm and have the power to do so, and the power to impregnate women and create giants are going to be like, nah, USA, those good white folks over there, we're going to leave them be. Black and brown, though, that's what we're going to fool around at.
Well, that wasn't black and brown. That wasn't black. Listen, if you really know anything about it, everyone is a form of brown. It's just
okay, fine.
So, in other words, they gonna go to the people that have black hair. So, if you have black hair and stringy, they're coming after you. They're gonna leave the cranky, curly black folks alone. That what more hue, and then they're gonna leave the ones with blonde hair alone too, because they're just
superior.
I didn't say anything. I'm gonna go on mute. Please, Illuminated. Go ahead.
Hey Jay, me and you can fade to the back, man. You know what I'm saying?
He gonna take away the people that over there. Look, he gonna know what's gonna happen. They're gonna severely hurt the ones that made the Euphrates dry up, and those people are Syrians, Iraqians, and whatever the rest of them.
Iraqians.
Iraqians. I said
Jay,
right.
Jay.
Yeah.
Hey Jay, check this out. There's a portion in the Bible where mankind is tormented.
That's what I'm saying. They don't want the snow bunnies, man. They don't listen. They don't want the snow bunnies.
Stop it. Anyway, Jay, there's gonna be a time on this earth where mankind is going to be tormented. They're going to look for death and can't find it. Now, if you read the doctrine and the belief of transhumanism, they're the one that said that they want to live forever. Remember? They said that they found the key to eternal life and they are going to live forever. But when this time comes upon the earth, they're going to wish for death because of all the pestilence and everything. Like they said, for lack of a better term, it's going to be hell on earth. And for those who are here that goes through that, it's going to be a very bad time. So
all I know is I'm going to have some water to drink.
If they want to.
I'm going to go through it with ease because I'm going to have water to drink and water to bathe my ass with. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, why you want to troll so hard, bro? He's trying to be serious. Why you want to troll, bro?
I'm not trolling. I'm being dead ass serious. If they let it listen, if they didn't know how to not let the water dry up, they deserve that.
All I know is I hope and pray to God that I'm not here. I don't care about this house. I don't care about none of this stuff. All I know is I do not want to be here when that stuff happens.
Well, I do,
That's
because I
gonna
know
be.
I'm gonna be
Where are you
drinking
gonna
some
go?
nice little tequila, some
Where are you gonna
water.
go?
I'm gonna be
Jay,
able to
there's
wash my
nowhere on the
ass.
earth you can go.
Yes, it is. I'm gonna go right to where I'm at right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna be in my trailer. I'm gonna be
All right,
moving.
yo, you can clown if you want to. All I'm saying is this: what he said, the red letter edition, the 24th and the
I've already
25th
accepted.
chapter of Matthew, and he said what he said. The red letter edition, he said it. I believe it. I will not deviate from it. I don't care how raggedy my life is. He said it. He's right. I'm wrong. I'll leave it at that. And it's just as simple. It's just that simple for me.
All I let
You know.
y'all know is
And then
that
those who want to
listen, y'all gotta understand. Life is not all about gloomation, okay?
why do you think my name is Illuminated Revelation, Knucklehead?
And that's why I said it's not all about gloomation, okay? Gloomation. It's all about having fun. If God wouldn't have put you on here to go through all this turmoil, that's what I believe. That's why I'm happy.
Yeah, well, I'm happy too, but there's pain in life, you know. Life happens, you know. And just like I told my wife today, life has an expiration date, and we all going to experience it. So all I can say is, I'm trying to make sure that banana.
Yes, it's gloomation because he's
Trying
be gloomy.
I'm trying
They're
to hang
gloomy,
on, Miss
man.
Tom. I'm trying to hang
Listen,
on.
They gloomy. I'm
know?
not in the mindset of being gloomy. You know what I'm saying? I'm just,
I'm not being the mindset of being cool. This is my reality. I'm happy. I did my yard today. I got to finish it up. I'm going to do some more stuff tomorrow, and I'm happy. But at the same time, I have a reality check. We have an idiot sitting up in the White House that's trying to start, God knows what. And then we have a vice president that's not.
As long as we got water, right, and the Euphrates didn't dry up over here, as long as the Mississippi don't dry up,
there is no Euphrates over here. What?
Would you shut up?
As long as the Mississippi
about the
doesn't dry
water?
up, we straight. All right.
Yeah,
Y'all
well.
don't understand.
So what does
Hey,
Biden have to do
Jay-
with the Bible?
Can you get him? Oh my
What does
God.
Joe Biden have to do
Say
with the
again?
Bible?
I don't know what Joe Biden has to do with the Bible.
It's not what he has to do with the. No, I'm saying it's not what Joe Biden has to do with the Bible. What Joe Biden is trying to help fulfill in the Bible by being an idiot.
Now you're
And then all that
talking
money
like
he's given to.
it's all about the water. This is what I was saying from the get-go. This all goes back to what I said from the beginning. If you already got the plan on what's gonna happen, why not fulfill the plan that's in motion?
Everybody wants to get to heaven.
Well, it's
until
gonna
time to get
happen.
to heaven, right?
Yeah, you're not hearing me, Illuminate. This is the same argument I had with my mama. If they have the plan, the governments have the plan because every government has a Bible. They're in every hotel room. All you gotta do is grab it and read it, right? Now, if they already got the blueprint, why don't they just build the house?
Well, here's the
That's what I'm
thing, though. Here's what I've discovered. Now, I understand what you're saying. Here's my philosophy on it, Jay. I've discovered reading all this stuff. What happens is, for me, I discovered just how wide their web really is. I mean, they touch every facet of your life globally. So
I agree.
when I've been reading this stuff, and I'm like, this is when I took the analogy, you'll like this, the World Wide Web, and I was like, okay, why did they name it that? So they can catch you in things? Because I found out recently that the dark web was created first before the World Wide Web was. That's where they was doing all their illegal activity, doing secret deals, weapons, certain trafficking of certain product, you know, doing all that stuff.
Yeah,
So
I agree with you
I
on
was
that
like,
stuff.
that makes sense.
Okay, here's my.
That's why I say you can't go on the dark web. You just can't.
Okay, let me answer Michael
You
Ray.
can't.
Michael
How I
Ray's.
discovered a guy was.
They do
Go
reject
ahead.
God. They do reject God. Okay, I agree with you on that one. But here's the thing: if I have the blueprint, and I know I'm a part of a worldwide government, right? Say we're gonna have a world, because we do have a worldwide government. It's a globalist situation that we got going on right now. Why not fulfill the prophecy that is already handed to you in the blueprint, just to say the ultimate fuck you to God and everyone else? That's what I believe is going on.
Well,
if they already have the blueprint and they don't, and
they
they
do.
believe that they are the gods of the earth, if that's what they believe, they're going to reject God anyway. Why not fulfill with that so I can continue to control people? Just saying, it's a thought.
Well, you have to understand. It goes back to what Sandra said earlier. I heard her say they have to know what's going on, and to the detriment of humanity, there's a lot of people that are still blinded. There are some people that are willingly blinded because they don't want to know, and some of them don't even realize that there is what you would call a new world order and a global cabal. They don't believe it. They say you're a conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat, stupid individual.
That's just
to
because they're
believe all
stupid.
that
Because
stuff.
if you look at it, like right now, if you believe that we go into space, Russia takes us to space. If you believe that we're evil, I mean we are not partners in this way of life. We get everything from China. No matter what comes from over here, it comes from China. Then it goes to Mexico. Mexico comes to here. It's just a whole global thing. Even from Canada, Canada goes to Russia. Russia. It's just a whole thing. Everyone goes to everyone for every good that's in this goddamn world.
It's a
So there's
global
no
economy.
way. There's no way we
There
are
you go.
enemies. There's no way we are enemies at any shape, facet, or form. We're not enemies. None of us are enemies with each other because we do things for each other. No matter if it's a global economy or not, we are together as one, and that's what I believe.
Illuminated. Do you think Revelations is a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it depends on how you look at it, my friend. I think it's a good thing. I really do. Because for me, go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, I'm saying
Michael,
for me, I
we've
think
already
it's a
been.
good
All nations
reason.
have already been around Jerusalem. Look at if you go to Jerusalem right now, they have multiple flags that's already planted in Jerusalem right now as we speak. I know what he's talking about, but that's what I'm saying. If you want to go by where the land mass of Jerusalem is right now, there's multiple flags. There's world flags that's already planted there.
So if Revelations is
for
a
me,
good thing, right? Why
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't you support Biden if you think he's pushing us towards that?
Well, I'll put it to you like this. I say Revelation is a good thing from a biblical standpoint for humanity's sake. For you're going to have to choose a side. Biden already chose his side, you know.
Well,
and
Biden's
with
close
the
to death,
release
so it really
of
doesn't
everything
matter.
and that's why they, I think they allowing all this stuff to happen to him right now because he's not going to make it to 2024. He's just not with what they doing to him. I think this is a plot plan, like you say, Tom, to push him out of the way and start moving some
I
other
did say
pieces
that.
of the
I've said that plenty of times.
puzzle into place. Now here's what the political, not rumor mill, but thought process is. The first black woman president, really, Tom? If they're going to impeach, they got to impeach both of them.
They're not going to.
Please, for the
They're
sake
not
of
going to.
humanity.
They're
We
not
can't
going
have
to.
her up in there.
They're not going
Not with her
to.
cackling stuff.
They're not going
No,
to.
not with her.
Why would they impeach them?
They got.
They won't. They won't impeach. They won't impeach. First off, Republicans have no balls. Second
I'm just
off,
saying,
Democrats are stupid. It's just they're one and the same. They're not going to impeach their own. That's what they are. They're all the same.
Oh, that's not true. They they are of that cabal to where they will dispose of their own. Once you fulfill, you got to take one for the team, so and so and so. They will dispose of you. And then if there's any resistance,
okay. What I'm saying
there's any
is
resistance,
they're part of the same.
we talked about that.
Team. They're part of the same team, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who's in office. They're
Bunch
part of the
of
same
inbred. Let me stop. Let me stop.
But no, this has been a good show. It is
Well,
at
the other guy
2:00,
was
almost 2:30 in the morning, and I gotta get some sleep today.
and you're
I
gonna
didn't
go
sleep
jump
last
on
night.
the other program. I already know where you're going. Because you can't help it.
I don't know. It depends on what they're talking about. So
I'm
as
over
of
there
right now, I didn't yell yesterday.
No, you was in there. I heard you, Angerman, both of y'all jumped on there and started arguing about, Atlanta and all that stuff. I was like, man, are you guys
Hold on.
serious?
I didn't argue Atlanta. I just said they both was trash. Atlanta and New York both was trash. That wasn't an argument. No argument there. They're all trash. I'm sorry.
That's all.
You got a point.
That's all.
I will never argue and fight
Yeah,
for
well,
Atlanta
you
or
know
New
how that
York
goes.
or New Jersey. They're all three of them are trash in my eyes. They're hellholes.
You
for
better
black
throw
people.
California in there.
Oh, California is the whole. You throw the whole
And
state
Chicago.
away.
No,
Chicago.
you leave Chicago alone.
Yeah.
Chicago is fucking perfect, all right?
Yeah, okay. If perfect for white folks that don't live in Chicago.
Hey, it's
Black
good
sheep.
if you just wear your
Black
bulletproof
sheep.
vest outside. You'll be great.
Black
What's up?
sheep.
Yes, sir.
Black sheep. If y'all reelect that mayor
will.
after all the
They
hell
will.
y'all been through,
They will.
we're gonna have to have a talk.
They will. They will.
What's wrong with
They think
Lightfoot?
she's a black Jesus like Obama.
Hey, her shit don't stink, sir. All right. She is our Nubian queen. All right.
Nubian queen.
Him or her?
It's
Her.
a shim.
The
It's a
shim.
They.
Shim. It's a shim.
Well,
They.
You know what?
No,
Whatever they
sorry,
decide to
Jay,
call
you're right. You're right.
themselves, you know.
Personal pronoun.
Yeah. But hey, we're gonna end this
See,
broadcast.
that's why I know.
We're ending this broadcast.
Sorry, brother.
Eliminated. You're done, sir. You are done. No, I'm sorry. You go ahead. Y'all
Miss
go ahead.
Tom, it has been a pleasure. Jay, Black Sheep. I'm not speaking to the other individual. It's been a pleasure. I love supporting Miss Tom. When I get my channel up, I'm definitely going to support your product. We gotta come together and order something, and then I can hold it up and then shout out your website and stuff. Good stuff like that. So that way you can have some passive income coming in. As far as that other individual, whatever. Yeah, just make sure you support the doggies.
He's something else. He's,
Look at that big baby.
I got no words.
The dogs love me. I don't mess with them.
I don't.
You always cuss them out.
She needs to run her own panel up here while I'm not here, so I can laugh at y'all. I will laugh.
No. You know what? I'm getting it up before the end of the month. Since Miss Tom told me, I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm just going to start recording and putting stuff up. That's what I'm going to do.
Lives too?
I got to get a lens for my other camera. Because I only have two levels.
I haven't done any lives on my channel yet, but I upload shorts and videos. Because my live stuff, it would be really long. Because who wants to watch? I mean, I guess people think that they want to watch that process. I do it so much that I'm like, why would anybody want to watch that? But a lot of people say they.
You'd be surprised. When you type in
you're
YouTube, the how-to, you'd be surprised how many people will come support you.
You know what, though? The how-to stuff?
I mean, heck, you got
I
people
thought about that, but the how-to stuff, I really think that the only people that ever do that get paid to do it because it's a long, tons of questions process that you really have to take the time with an individual to teach them if you want to teach them right.
Well, hold on. The thing about that would it be is you would have a live, like you'll have someone that sends you, can you show me how to do this, blah, 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 blah. And then you get on there and show people you can do a live video on that. And I think that will go a long way with people that do do the tumblers and stuff. But you, like you said, we got to get
think about it.
1,000 hours and also your 1,000 people.
Go ahead, Eliminate.
Yeah, because think about it this way, Miss Tom. I don't know how many times us guys how to assemble this or how to put this up or how to do this. I mean, it's 15-minute videos, 20-minute videos. I click on all kinds, and it's like, okay, if you like what you have, subscribe to my channel. Okay, fine. But with stuff that you got is unique, so it's a product. It's a product line. So me and you, we're gonna jump on there. That other guy, we'll hope for him. We'll hope for the best for that other guy, but we'll get on here. We'll support you and everything. And then if this guy can get rid of that white sheet guy that's up under there, we'll be okay. Screaming all
That's not going nowhere. It is a staple. I'm trying to find another one that's different, but it's a staple. It's staying.
Let me get my volume ready.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
No, he's loud.
So we're done for today, bro. Yeah, man. Thanks for coming up, Illuminator. You always make the panels interesting, and I love your Bible.
That's right.
You're just like my mom, so I'd be like,
Oh my goodness.
Sandra too.
I bring out the perspective.
And I'm not gonna lie, the chat has been on fire today. A lot of disagreements, a lot of agreements.
I love it though.
I
love that everybody can come up and no one's calling each other names, nothing. There's a lot of different opinions and differing opinions and different outlooks and everything. And it's great because there is someone that learned something through reading that chat, and that's awesome.
And the thing about that is I'm not a Bible thumper, but I will listen to other people talk about it because it is what it is. Not even the Bible thumping part. It's not the Bible thumping part. I'm just talking about overall having different opinions on different things. That's all.
No, what I'm saying me and you talked about this when you started your channel. Remember when I first met you, how you said you was going to bring your channel up and transitioned over here from Facebook, and look at how you're growing slowly but surely. And it's like people come over here for good conversation, and that's why they come over here, man. Because when you talk about marriage and stuff like that, because we kept getting kicked off the other panels talking about you married folks don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I'm sorry, we just have wives. I'm sorry, we just have a wife. Don't worry about it. We don't know nothing about marriage.
Yeah. It's only been 20
that
years.
was funny to me, boy.
It is what it is. Because like I said, I can't resonate with the whole dating scene. It's not my thing. That's why I said, welcome. Marriage is welcome. It is promoted over here. Marriage is promoted over here. Being a good father, being a good mother is promoted over here. Being a good person is being promoted over here. I don't want to deal with the true debauchery of things that goes on. Even though some of it's funny, I'm not gonna lie. Some of it's funny.
It's funny because it's not us.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
And they've come to the situations themselves.
Yeah.
They've created the situations themselves.
The outside looking in portion is great. That's what I love. I want to be the outside person looking in, saying that is a degenerate right there.
Yeah.
I know where to keep them.
Well, what I like, hey Tom, what I like doing is I looking over there and like, I'm glad that's not me.
Yes.
And I just go ahead and watch my Dragon Ball Z videos.
You and Angry Man.
And do some more reading.
Angry Man was on there last night. It was a big argument last night with the New York and Atlanta thing, especially Logic was over there. It was a pretty good one. And then Anton came on there.
I was surprised at Cheeky though. Cheeky was defending his city though.
Yeah, I don't know how you defend that, but I'll let that happen. I'll let that go. That's the problem. That's the problem with black people. That's what I said on the channel last night. I was like, the problem is that people want to claim these cities like they're good. They're not.
Hey, let me say something real quick before I forget. If anybody wants to talk about a subject or has an idea or whatever, shoot it his way via email. Do you think there's something that would be interesting to everybody, whatever? Bring it up. Sometimes we just...
It's always open panel.
Sometimes we kind of, we got busy for a minute and stuff, but sometimes we're kind of like, well, let's do the opposite of what everybody seems to be talking about, but sometimes it's like, everybody, we do a let's talk and it's like, start with one subject and it kind of goes into 15 other things and all that, but I would love to see kind of, like, I don't mind doing a show, although it just depends on what it is. I don't mind. I kind of like it when everybody talks to each other and kind of bounces ideas and everything off of each other. I think it's great. To me, that's normal.
Yeah, it's very cordial.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's very cordial. It's very cordial over here, Miss Tom, except when you get interrupted when you're right in the middle of a sentence and the video plays and stuff. Not just once, not twice,
deep
about,
space.
About 10 times through the whole broadcast. It never fails.
I did that on purpose. That was funny.
It never fails. You see what I'm
Let
saying?
me tell you, he's like that living with him too. It's not you, because I can tell him something, and I swear to you, after word 3, he's already tuned me out. And then I say, then he looks at me like, "What? Really?" And then, what'd you say? That's just how his mind works. So if he's playing something, it's because
what we'll do is
forget.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
Hey, what we can do is, now that you brought that idea up, we could do like a series. That's one of the things that I thought about. To take a particular subject and really do a deep dive, come with receipts, and then show how things connect. Because one thing I want to do, I saw on a couple of panels ago that I was on, and we were talking about some. It was on one of Aaron his old channel. I hope he kept that video, because it was a real good talk going back and forth. And unlike Lee said something that was very powerful. I don't think he realized what he said, and he interjected into the conversation. And I took that idea, and what happened was, it shows how you connect the dots. And one guy in the comments said, "Man, I wish I could know how to research and data mine and how to do this stuff." And once I get my channel up, I'm gonna have a show specifically just for that, to show people how to do research and stuff. Because a lot of people really don't.
I just want to let 777 know if he's still watching. Okay, it's 777 still watching. One of the things we can talk about: blue cheese is fucking nasty. Ranch is the only thing that works with wings. He and I got into it the other night. He kicked me off his stream multiple times. Blue cheese is fucking nasty. It's disgusting. Okay, my girl
blue
ordered
cheese
gyros
dressing
today.
or blue cheese itself.
It doesn't matter, bro. Listen, it don't matter. Put the whole category together. My girl ordered gyro. She ordered lamb gyro today from an Italian joint. Okay, and they put blue cheese dressing instead of tzatziki on the gyro. She was like, "This tastes like ass and moldy sauce."
You don't mess with. You don't take the tzatziki out and put on some.
Okay, hold on. Illuminated.
Yes, ma'am.
A week from today, our middle Navy son is coming home on leave from Japan for a week and a half. I was thinking about.
Oh, wow.
He's very passive, very I don't know how we have a passive, respectful, super nice, sincere.
He's not respectful. Don't let her lie to you.
He is. But I was thinking, I don't know what kind of show it would be, but it would be cool to ask the 20-year-old active duty, the 24-year-old that was active duty Army, left to go active duty Navy within the next couple of weeks. But it's good ages to ask them questions about what the 20-year-old's mind, male, is seeing, hearing, feeling, whatever. I don't know. That's
right. That is, well, I can be honest. That would be a good show, because I could relate to that, because it was like, Uncle Tom can probably relate to this too. It's like after you went into the military and you came back home, you just saw the world differently.
Yes.
Your friends just looked different, and just everything was just different. It was just different. And then once you start going into it like me and Tom has, and you get over 10 years and you end up retiring, you still have that same mindset. You know, you come back
And
to
you don't like the
civilization, as we
bullshit
call
that
it.
you liked before. Everything has changed. Like when I
Yeah.
came back and I went to
and you
Oklahoma.
have a low
and I was just like,
No tolerance.
yeah.
Hey, what the fuck are y'all
You have a low
doing?
tolerance. You're right, Miss Tom.
We had that conversation. I was talking to my oldest about it because he is much more, his fuse was already kind of short. But he is, the kids are polar opposites, those two. One is very hands-on,
Right.
one kind of beast mode all the time. That's the oldest. The other one is thoughtful, thinks things through, that kind, quieter.
Okay.
But it's interesting to hear the way they look at life and the way they see things and the things they say to us now that they're older, growing up in an active duty household, which we both did as well. And then the kids,
Right.
he was active duty. Interesting to hear from them, and I don't know how much they'll want to talk about it. We all talk about it now, but about him getting hurt in Afghanistan and how
I didn't get
difficult
hurt.
it was and what they went through afterwards, and kind of the full circle.
Navy. They're both Navy.
Yeah, they're both Navy. Michael Ray, the older one, was Army, and he did not re-enlist, and now he's going to the Navy. But the whole thing would be interesting. I'm just not quite sure. Like what?
Well, here's, now that you're doing it, you're doing the brainstorming right now. Here would be I almost had the title on the tip of my tongue. Let me word this right, because I'm good at titles. It would be like a new perspective, on life, or a over how my life has changed since joining the military, something like that, something along those lines. You know?
Yeah.
Because you
Actually,
have
Does anybody?
Really?
It comes up by itself. Shut up.
Hold on. Trump said, I understand that, but I actually have a friend that is very, very high up in the Navy that has a YouTube channel and she is a big spokesperson. She is active duty and is a big spokesperson for all different social aspects and issues and all that. And I actually ran it by her first.
You just can't talk about certain things.
Yeah, of course, you can't talk about certain things. And he wouldn't, and actually illuminated, I was thinking maybe it might even be better to do them separately and maybe a little bit together, mostly separately, because they're so different, but they are super goofy together. So we wouldn't really get much accomplished now that I think about it.
No, I'll get everything accomplished. I like to ask questions, so.
But they're really good. Like, they wouldn't mind answering probably anything. There's not really much that's off limits.
Well, one thing you guys have advantage of is, you know, they both grew up in an active duty household as what we call military brats.
Mm-hmm.
Now they transition into that lifestyle. So what's the difference growing up in a military household and listening to your parents tell you about, you know, the structure and all this stuff, and then turn around, you go out and live it for yourself and join that particular said structure. Now you can kind of do a reflection and say, remember when I was 15, you told me this? You remember when I was 13, you told me that?
They do that now.
I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see? So all of us do that going through life. I didn't understand it when I was in your household, eating your food and, you know, being disruptive and being disrespectful. But now that I'm outside looking back, I can appreciate what you guys was trying to do.
Exactly.
You know, that's the only thing we can do as parents. You know, that's the only thing we can do as parents. You can hope for the best.
It's nice to hear him say it.
You know,
because we always hope that as the parents, we always hope that they'll understand someday. And they both repeatedly, whether it's big or small, they'll say things to me. It's either in passing or sometimes it's something that's a big deal, and they always say it, and I'm always glad.
And you know what? The beautiful thing I'm finding out, you know, even being an empty nesters, I talk to my children differently now. You know, when you have different situations, I talk to them and say, hey, you know what? This is what's happening. Y'all know how I am, but hey, I apologize. I do this, I do that,
Right.
And I talk to them as adults, not, and still keep that, that father, daughter, and try to keep that fatherly relationship, because at the end of the day, like I tell them all the time, at the end of the day, all you have is family. That's it.
That's
The
what we
streets
tell them.
don't love you. They none. Yeah, so
In the
that'll
end.
be a good show.
I think so
that'll
too.
be a good show.
I think so too, because they're kind of both no holds
Yep.
barred. Like they know what they can and can't say. Like they know there's nothing, because
Right.
they grew up in a household with us, so they're not spilling anything. They'll look at me first and be like, but they know already I'm not going to ask anything out of line, anything that could possibly skate on OPSEC or anything like that. It just wouldn't happen.
Right.
It could go really.
And then again, also too, in these YouTube spaces, I found out some things that you openly talk about to make a teaching point turns around, it comes out to be a dagger in other spaces. I'm finding that out, because they'll use that against you. Uncle Tom is trying to, he'll say something, hey, I did this, I did that, as a teaching point, and then 5 shows later, it's like, oh, Uncle Tom, remember you say that? Oh, you remember? And I noticed that, and that's why I'm kind of real, covered about my household and about what I share on these spaces. But I use it as a teaching point and try to let people know, hey, I'm an open book, but there are certain chapters you're not going to read because it's none of your dadgum business.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh, that's for damn
Period.
sure.
Exactly.
A lot of people, I gotta tell my wife,
and I
it's like it's hard to even giving her full access to certain things that's in my brain. It's just to me, it's just a man thing that I just can't put it all out there at one point in time. I mean, I give you bits and pieces, but
Right.
I always give her more than I give 99.9% everyone else. Even my mom, I don't even give her as much as I want to. Like, yeah, it's all right. You'll be all right.
Yeah. What I've been trying to get my wife to do is like, look, just come in, because she wants to start a YouTube channel too. But I told her, I said, these YouTube streets are mean. It depends on what neighborhood you go in. There's the ghetto. There's the straight up. There's the suburbs.
Listen, eliminate it. You just gotta take it like this. She's gonna have to understand that first off, she's attached to you. So you gotta understand it.
Yeah.
Especially, well, mine is different. Mine's a different case, because most of these females up here that come into these spaces are out. I'm not gonna say they're intimidated by white folks, but they severely are misunderstood how white women and black men can actually get along other than just their genitals. And to me, it's a stupid thing to boil everything down to.
That is the show that I would love to see y'all have interracial couples on here, from black to white to Asian to this and Hispanic to this, and that would be a great panel and a great show. Couples only, and then for all you single folks that's been whining and complaining, drinking 40 ounces, sit down and just listen from a different perspective.
What you got against 40 ounces, bro?
Just have all these different cultures.
That's hard to do, because it's not a lot of people that. The thing is, it's not a lot of people that'll bring their significant other up.
That's the
Because they're
thing.
scared.
The women.
I told her, I was like, look, if you want to come on, I'm gonna listen. It is what it is. You know how it is. You got your
No,
own
what
risk.
I'm saying is this panel. No, what I'm saying is though, Tom, when you bring those panels on, it wouldn't be like a panel. Let's say like you're inviting other people on. You would just read comments in the chat and do it from there. But it'll be an interaction within couples, something like that. Sort of like, something live or something like that. And, you bring them all in and everybody's sitting down. Oh, I remember that time. Girl, I better not say that, and it'd just be fun to see couples interact that, because the way they dog marriage so much, it's almost like marriage is almost like a death sentence and stuff. Like, oh man, you're gonna do this bit, 24 to life.
Hey, Trump said, I said the same
then
thing.
10
but
years
they don't-
after that, I'm like,
they don't understand that part right there, Trump said, because like I said, my whole family is biracial. If you really want to get down to it, my sister got Asian kids, my brother got Indian kids, my other sister has mixed Indian kids as well. It's crazy, and and then I have white children.
And we don't even.
Wow.
It's so weird the way people act funny. Like, I come in and out of here usually because I'm working in my office behind, and I'll come back and forth, but I'm listening. And sometimes you'll see females come in and out. They don't talk very much. I think because, I don't know, I've gotten a mix of hate and disgust, and it's always from females. The guys, I've only had a few challenge me, and 777 was one of them at the beginning. And I think it was all how you handle it. I don't really get shaken. It doesn't really bother me because I don't really care. 20 years we've been married. Do I really care what some stranger thinks? No, not at all. I don't care. They don't pay my bills.
Right.
But the females can be real.
Right. That's a beautiful thing.
The females.
A lot of times they want what you have,
Like I like our females. Those of us here are the ones that talk anyway, because they have differing lives. Like, they're very different people. Miss Sandra, and we watch YouTube, and Bird Lady. They're all different people. Katie May, they're very different, but yet
Georgia,
they're a lot the same in the way. They're very kind, sincere people. So it's nice. But we'll think, maybe, and you need to get your channel together, because we could be throwing ideas back and forth, and
Yeah. Well, like I say, I think when my channel goes up, I'm praying for it and praying over it. But when it goes up, I can just say it's just going to be different. That's all I can say. I already know it's going to be different.
I know.
And it's just going to be one of those things to where the gauntlet will be laid down, the gavel will be there. If you don't like it, kick rocks, go somewhere else. We're not over here for that, because my goal is to reach one, teach one, and to help as many people as I can while I have this space, and then wherever it goes from there, God only knows. But once I get it up, it's just going to be, hey, I know I've met some pretty good people on here. I call them my internet, compadres and stuff. Jay, you, Black Thought, whenever he gets his thoughts together. Black and the rest of those guys, I met them through Uncle Tom. So, real good people. They speak their mind. Met some other good people, Freezy and DL. It's some good people here in this space.
Yeah.
It's just that you gotta associate yourself with them. And I've been invited just by talking like we're talking now. Hey man, you need to come on this panel, man. We need somebody like you. And that's how you start networking and really adding to the conversation and stuff. So, I don't mind that. It's just that I can't go on too many panels and take up too much time, because I got a lot of reading to do. I got a lot of studying and putting stuff together, because it's not so much as quantity. I want to put out a good quality product.
Of course.
People can go back, man, what the hell did he just say? Hey, chop it up, put it in your YouTube short. I don't care. I just want the information to get out there. That's all I care about. Oh, you only got 500 members. I don't care. It's not about numbers for me. It's about getting the information. I keep telling people that, and they'll see. You want to support the channel, that's fine. If not, hey, I appreciate you stopping by, engaging in the conversation. Put your little like button up, put something in the chat. That's fine with me. As long as you got a little something, take a little piece and You keep it
Right.
moving, you know.
Yeah.
So, but you know, people, you'll have that group. Watch, you'll have that group because the echo chamber is being saturated right now, and people are looking for something different.
I know. And I can't,
You know, so
I don't do it. Like, I'm here and I go to Angry Man's channel because we all talk and I vibe with not everything, you know, because some of the craziness, it's just not my brain. But he has a lot to say about, you know, he stands hard and strong on his family and his wife and his kids and business. And that's really the only other place that I will interact. But I'm not sitting up there on a panel or anything.
yeah, he can be kind of rude sometimes too. So I have to correct him on that a lot. You know, he can be kind of rude sometimes. He's like Uncle Tom.
He
Him and
gets
Uncle Tom hang out a lot together. So
he gets frustrated. He got a lot of people coming
yeah, I
after
know.
him. Angry Man did.
Well, but see, the thing about him though, I tell him this all the time. I like, Angry Man, how do you do it, bro? You got too many.
He gone.
Here we back.
Stuff. It's like how you would call it, debate theater for him. And lay out facts, and a lot of people can't dispute it because one, half the people ain't read or don't know what the heck he's talking about. And
He's
two,
very well
pretty
read.
much
I give him that.
well-versed
He's
and
very well
diverse.
read.
Yeah.
And educated.
You know, so he's very diverse too. You know, he can jump from topic to topic to topic, and a lot of people can't do that. And then the first thing they do is they start name calling and calling you Uncle Tom and this and that, or Coon, and all the rest of these little names that they make up for you. So that right there doesn't bother me. You know, that's where you feel, that's fine. You know, but when you have somebody that, and the people in the chat let you know too, you know, they'll put in the comment, hey man, why is this guy wasting his time with these people? Because they know who's who in these internet spaces, because you come on here so much to where people hear your rhetoric and your narrative to where they just look at you like, yeah, right, okay. Yeah, he's going to go up 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom, there it is. That's what he's going to say. Yep, that didn't take long, you know. So, you know, but when someone else comes in and speaks with a half a degree of intelligence and have, you know, just know what they're talking about and state facts and tell you where to go research it at, they just look at you like, oh man, you know, okay, y'all just want to talk. Y'all don't have a conversation. Y'all just want to talk.
Right.
I can't do that. I can't. My life is too short. I don't have time for that, Miss Tom. I don't. I just really don't. That's why I pull back. I will watch some channels.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, that's cool, but won't participate. Nope. Uncle Tom like that stuff though.
I do. I'm not gonna
He
lie.
be trolling him the whole time he be on there.
I
He
like
be trolling him. I'm like, Tom, what is you doing over there?
Sometimes I'm not over
Sometimes I
here.
want to type in the chat like, would you take?
someone has to be the opposite.
Yeah, I want to type in the chat say, Tom, take your butt to bed.
Man, they're over there talking about something right now. I'm about to go over there. Oh no, I'm not. They talking. No.
Yeah, I'm gonna get off here now too. Hey Jay, it's been real. Black Sheep, Miss Tom.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. But hey, we'll get together, brother. You got my number and stuff, don't you?
No, I have you on. What is that thing? What is it called?
Telegram.
Yeah, I can reach you on that. I can call you.
Okay. Yeah, shoot me a message. Then we can go back and forth, man. And you can put my email in there, and then we can exchange info. Like right now, I'm on my phone, you know. But we gotta so we can call and collaborate and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You too, Jay. The white Mexican.
Oh, white Mexican.
EP Puerto Rocky.
Puerto Rock, puro.
Did we lose Mr.
Oh man.
Sleep?
Lose who? Probably.
No, I'm here.
Oh, that. Damn, you were quiet for a really long time.
I was just listening. You know?
Hit the Cash App, support the show.
Oh my God.
Give a fuck about none of these hoes. Off top, let me make shit clear. Let me make shit clear. Off top, let me make shit
You're gonna screw
clear.
everything up with that.
I hit the wrong.
Now you're gonna have to
that was
put
the outro.
whole show without a problem. He got to do it now.
I hit the wrong button.
Illuminated. If you saw the amount of buttons he has over there, it's ridiculous.
I already know. He flexed on us one time. He showed his little setup. He showed his little setup.
Him.
I was like, okay. See, told you. He can't help himself. He just can't help. He's like a kid in his toy house. Just to play with. See?
You're like a child.
You know what I'm talking about, Jay? See, that kind of stuff will not be going on in my channel. Okay? That kind of
Whatever
stuff.
goes down,
you'll
bro.
be more than welcome.
I'm definitely ready for
no,
it.
I'm saying you'll be able to complete. You'll be able to complete your thought and your sentences.
Stop the cap. Now you gonna turn up on your channel?
See? That's what he's been doing all day. He's been clipping people's stuff, getting his arsenal ready. He's building an ammo hub. I know what he's doing.
I got like 500-600 damn things I don't even use. They're just sitting up in there.
Hey, are you doing lives on your channel? Illuminated?
Huh?
Are you gonna be doing lives as well, or just videos, just standard
Yeah,
videos?
I'm gonna start off with a couple of shorts, introduce myself to the people, and then I'm gonna start doing lives. But I'm getting my ground rules up, and I'm setting up something to where I don't want to give it away right now, but it's something going to be opposite of what you see out here. And when you put it out, it's gonna be a slow build, and then hopefully once it comes together, you'll see something totally different, you know. And it's going to have a real nice feel to it on a couple of ones that I want to do. So
no lawlessness.
I got my channels lined up, so there you go, my friend. Hell no, I'm not putting up with that foolishness. And the people that I want to give wrenches to, you know, if they want to get. Miss Tom, it has been so nice talking with you and Jay and Black Sheep. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here because there's only so much disrespect.
Yeah.
He's a child. He's my tallest
There's
child.
only so much disrespect. There's only so much disrespect a black man can take, you know. So
Me
I'm gonna
too.
get off this disrespectful plantation because this see, told you.
I'm going in the
Told
house.
you, Jay. Told you. Hey, Miss Tom. Love you guys. I'll talk to y'all later, man.
All right, till next time.
Night.
There we go.
Oh, that's one down.
You shutting it down now, or? Oh. All right, man, shut it down. I trust me. I'm not gonna have an extra 30-minute tangent.
Listen, I am gonna. Yeah, I'm done. I think I'm going to bed too.
Liar.
Man, there's
What are
5
they
people on
talking
the
about
panel.
on a?
Let's see. Let's get.
Well, whose stream is even going at 3 a.m.? Outside of yours.
Okay.
Fight Club goes past 3 a.m.
I'm
Man, it goes into the next day at like 11, 12 o'clock.
Jesus.
Hold on.
What they talking about over there?
How much shit you had to talk about?
Hold on. They're talking about it right now. Hold on.
I tried to tell you. So you disagree with the founding fathers of America, then?
The stealing is wrong. Well,
So you disagree with the founding fathers of America and any
is-
other conqueror in history?
Stealing is wrong.
Right.
Whoa,
stop. You see what I'm saying?
No. You're saying we disagree with the founding fathers. What do you mean by that?
So when they was stealing niggas and stealing babies out of black women arms, you heard the stories. You know they.
No. Okay, but your baseline is off. So as far as land,
Oh, my bad. I thought.
no.
Did they get permission to take those things to different countries and monetize the motherfuckers?
Well, hold on.
Oh, my bad.
They purchased them. Let's
They're
be
about
clear,
to
they
turn up.
purchased them. So that's a purchase. And then secondly, when it comes to land, they fought for it.
Oh yeah. Well, I would argue that the descendants of all those people they fought are coming back in caravans by them.
No, they're not.
I never said they're not, but those are two different statements.
Can I read I looked up morals and principles. Is that okay, Aaron?
I knew you would. Yeah,
I know, because I have to get my
I mean,
geek on.
morally, those people that
real
are coming in the caravans, they have the right to
I've
be
already
on
read it, so I already
Sorry,
know. I'm
Right?
just playing chess, not
Aaron,
chess.
morally, those people that are coming back in caravans have the
I'm gonna
right to
jump
America.
in. You got to kill me.
Their grandfathers, their great grandfathers who owned that land, right? So morally, they have the right to come back. in
There is no
caravans.
morals.
Okay?
There is
Jesus
no morals.
Christ,
remember?
sounds stupid.
No, there is no morals. We don't know morals. Remember?
You don't assign morals to war.
I tried to tell you.
Conquest.
You asked me about morals.
Aaron,
We don't
I'm
know
with
nothing
you
about morals on
1,000%. I'm with
They're
you
gonna try to
1,000%.
tell you.
Those,
This is
those
where
founding fathers did whatever it took
I disagree with
to
disagree
get
with
what
people,
they wanted,
especially
at all
some
costs.
what they're
Not
talking
only they
about here.
blood,
This is
but who, they
my theory, not my theory. My thing behind it is that if you cannot protect your land, it is not your goddamn land. I don't care what it was before or anything, but you cannot piggyback right now's time for back then. Back then, it was a conquering nation mindset through every country, not just one country. Every country was on conquering conquests at those times. That's why
That's the law of empires.
Exactly. So the point, what they're always talking about, is the land was stolen and this. No, you were just conquered. Sorry. No, you were conquered. And
Are they referring to the Americas, or are they referring to Africa?
Americas
From
and
from
Africa.
blindly then.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
They
You're
pledged
just saying.
to flag.
No,
This
hold
one,
on,
this
hold
one
on.
right
At
here.
the same time, he brought up Malcolm X as a comparison. So I mean, once
this is
Malcolm
not
X stopped
good.
pimping or whatever, no, wasn't his principal statement. It was by any means necessary, right?
Exactly.
I like
And that's what
Fight
your
Club.
founding
Don't
fathers
get me
did.
wrong.
They
Exactly.
wanted
I'll be on it all
Coming up
day.
here with that purge energy, with that loud ass mic.
And that's but Auntie is right though, because that's what made Malcolm such.
So
a
Fight
threat,
Club
was
is Black
he was willing
YouTube?
to do anything by any means necessary. That's why
It's
they were
not,
able to
because
go
they
to
just
certain
had a white
jails,
dude up
right,
there.
and march niggas out that bitch, and the police.
They did?
Get too much
He
power.
was. It was Chad. Mountain Chad was up
very,
there.
very, very forceful.
And that's
We gonna
That's
get
how
back
he
to
got
that.
down real quick.
Auntie said by any means.
He said he went down real quick.
We gonna follow cops around.
Now, as soon as you said that, I was like, okay, so it was 9-on-1.
Over here on
So
Fight Club.
here's
Here,
the
let
thing.
me put them down. Just
That's
a
exactly what
little
happened,
bit.
right?
That means I'm gonna do whatever.
So you can pay for these people to get put off the panel.
Oh, so
it's-
that's what happened to him.
So it's 20 minutes for $20 for 15 minutes, $50 for 2 hours, or $150 for the whole show.
That's what I'm
I've been
saying.
put
though.
off for the whole show before.
That's what I'm saying, though. So somebody booted him off, and I bet you it was like 9-on-1. As soon as you said the white dude was up there.
Nah, not really. It's usually one person that usually do it. Dude, it gets heated, bro. I mean, because
Really?
some of these opinions are just plausibly
Isn't this-
wrong.
Isn't this Anton's channel?
Yeah, it's Anton's channel.
Man, he's got a
But
great
he doesn't.
racket.
He doesn't run the channel. So Brittany and Aaron O are the ones that run the show, run the channel.
So how does that
Smart
work?
though.
Is he like?
Anton got kicked off. Anton got kicked off yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, he got kicked off. Someone bought his ass off for $50 and got him off for an hour.
So does he like take a back end cut of this, or is it like all theirs?
Well, he the one started it, and it was he lets them run the show, so he actually pays them to run the show.
Oh, he pays them. Okay.
Yeah.
So, which means he's probably getting a lion's share of the profit.
That's ridiculous.
He doesn't really care about it like that.
I mean, I'm sure he
From what
doesn't.
I
He's still a
heard,
business.
so.
He's still a businessman.
Sure. I agree with you on that. But I don't know what he pays him, and but all I know is they run the show for him. That's all I know.
Mm.
And he can get kicked off. Any one of them can get kicked off the show. Aaron O has been kicked off the show. Brittany B has been kicked off the show, and they run the show.
But you got to pay like $300 to do it.
I think it's 150 for or 200 for them.
Oh, I thought it was a double for the people who ran the show.
I think that's for the whole time though. Yes, double
Oh,
for
okay.
so yeah, it was 500 for a week. Double for the people who run the panel. So that's if you want to kick them off for the whole week.
500 for a week. What the
So
freak?
to kick the panel host off the show for the whole night will be $300
What
for
the
the whole
hell?
night.
I'll just deal with the annoying voice. I'm not gonna drop $300 just for that.
But it's,
Well,
I mean,
you
it's
got-
a cool show, man. I give it to them. They have a lot of conversation that people are afraid to have, and then they have stupid conversation as well. So,
I mean, would you say this is a stupid conversation they're having right now? In regards to,
it's one that's been had repeatedly. So I just
Okay.
watched, you know.
but you know what though? That's going to be a conversation that's always going to be had repeatedly.
Yes.
I think the conversation that people don't have enough, in my opinion, or at least they don't nuance it enough, is when they, because I'm assuming this conversation falls into America is not great. The whole
Not
America
necessarily, not necessarily,
nuance.
because a lot of them don't want to be in no other country, and they openly admit that. So it's not one of those conversations. I don't think.
Okay.
I've not listened to it the whole time, but once it starts to divulge into that, that's when I get more involved in it. And hopefully, if they have a spot
Yeah.
open, I'll get on it. But
But
other than
eventually,
that,
I
I
know
try
it's-
to stay away from it because a lot of people get into their feelings about that, you know,
Mhm.
and they got the whole slave mentality. We were, oh, it was there. It's a loser mentality to me.
I understand that.
I don't
But
care
eventually,
who
what
it
I'm
is,
saying
that's
is
a
that
loser mentality to me.
with conversations like that, it eventually gets into, well, America was never really great because slavery, Jim Crow, the taking of Native American lands,
You know
genocide.
what? You ask them, if you ask them, like, hey, which country has done it the right? They usually say the stupidest thing, which is in more white country.
You know, the question that should be asked, right? If their metric of America's lack of greatness is everything I listed, what civilization throughout history was great?
That would be none of them.
There'd be none. No civilization would be great because all of them did the
Because if all of
exact
them
same
did it.
shit. They've
Every
all done
last
that.
one of them done the same thing. So, and that's why I say it's a disingenuous argument because you cannot piggyback Monday morning coach for something that happened eons ago.
Right.
It's just not true because I mean, if it also depends on the time period that you lived in. Their time period that that America was founded on was a conquest of land, people, opportunity was all. Listen, we're
Mhm.
gonna conquer. We're not gonna hold anything back. That was that time period. Now this time period that we're in is like, oh, we're just gonna blame everything on everyone, and everyone did everything to everyone, and that's why it's a stupid fucking argument. It's a
Yeah, I can
stupid
see
fucking
that.
argument. So, and I'm not saying slavery was bad. I'm not saying it was good. Like I told you, but like I said it before, I believe my personal belief is genocide was a needed thing. Should have been, because even the Bible believes in genocide.
That's true. Yeah.
So
That's true.
it's a necessary evil. I mean, it is what it is.
It was done to the Philistines. Yeah.
It was done to a lot of them. It was
Yeah.
done
I'm
to a
saying
lot of them.
they're an easy example.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like when I say it to the people, be like, oh yeah. You say that now, but you get on these panels and you be like, well, this. No, it's this. If the Spaniards or the British or whoever or the French who came over here with their slave mentality and they're having their slaves, if they would have did everything the right way they're supposed to do, which would be to not allow some of these people to even think about living, right? Your black ass wouldn't be crying. And again, your history is told by the conqueror of the people.
Yeah.
You don't have a history unless they tell you have a history. And that's what these people fail to realize. It's a simple thing. The reason why you don't hear a lot about black history is because they were the ones that was always conquered because, i.e., they're too nice. They're being conquered now by Asian folks.
Yeah. China's about to take over half of Africa.
So it is what it is. I mean, and then you got Black Beauty on here. She always talk about her African pride, and I'm glad you have African pride. But these people we get.
Which one was that? Was that the one in the purple?
Yes,
The one to
she's
the left.
Yeah. She always the one that talks about being because she lives in Africa right now. I guess she's back in Africa right now, but
At
it's to
least
the
she's living
point.
her truth, though.
Yeah, she can live her truth all she wants, but she can't say the truth is that they're being overran by Asian folks, and not only Asians. You still got the British that are still over there. Still got Americans that are still over there. Still got it's a
I bet
multitude of people over there trying to take what's theirs.
she would rip her hair out if she knew that Biden's sending troops back into Somalia again.
No, she wouldn't. No, she wouldn't.
You don't think so? You don't think it would just
No.
cause her to just go berserk?
No, the reason why it won't cause her to go berserk is because she doesn't want to know the truth behind anything. They don't want to know the truth. Even if you tell them the truth, they won't believe it. There'll be an excuse for an excuse for an excuse.
So let me ask you this: how do they respond when they get asked the tough questions? As far as like, I don't just mean like American black culture. I mean like
Most of them
for
shut up.
African culture.
Most of them shut up. Most of them shut up. They don't
When they
say
get asked the
anything.
tough questions.
Even when they ask them a tough question, they'll they're gonna change the subject or ask another dumb question. So it's they try to be shifty. Holding a shifty person down is like holding down a pig sometimes.
Mm.
And that's the same thing with Simon. Simon does the same thing. If you ask Simon a tough question, he will literally, especially if he's been inebriated, he will. Whew,
Simon who?
Simon, the one that's always on the panels.
Pissy thoughts.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yo, how the fuck did you remember him as Pissy Thoughts? Get the fuck.
Because that's how I first could be. Okay, Tom.
Yes.
That was the first time me coming on your panel.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Simon usually comes on. I'm surprised he didn't come on today. But that was funny.
That's how I was like, "Who you talking about? Pissy thoughts?" I was like, "Yo, has he ever mentioned some shit like that before?"
What? Pissy Thoughts?
The whole piss thing.
Yes, that's why he got the name Pissy Thoughts. he is talking about getting peed on, and that shit was hilarious. So that's why.
I'm hoping that was all like a troll.
Nah, I don't think it was a troll. It is what it is. I will tell you this: if you have had kids, right, and you're married, 9 times out of 10, if you had sex with your wife while she was pregnant, she probably pissed on you.
Oh wow.
Yes, it is. Especially if she's like 8, 9 months closer to being ready to pop. Yeah, it didn't happen. That's a true fact. I'm sorry. People are scared to say that, but I'll tell you the truth. It's probably didn't happen.
How do you cope with it?
Well, cause shit, take a shower, motherfucker.
Sounds about right.
I mean, what the fuck? What else can you do? You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say it. Listen, because you got to think about it, everything is lower down. You know what I'm saying? And you continuously doing this. What's gonna happen? You know?
Yeah, you're right.
So
you're right. That makes sense.
I mean, that's reality that no one wants to really talk about. You know what I'm saying? But you're just not gonna willy-nilly just say, you know what? No, that's
shower me in your glory.
Shower me in all your glory. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here.
Oh my
How
God.
do you wipe up that from your soul? You know. I listen.
That's crazy.
Listen, what happens to pregnant women is they don't want to never tell you the truth. But I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, if you had a pregnant woman and you're having sex with her, literally, or you're doing it if you especially if you're doing it while she's standing up, Jesus Christ.
Oh man.
That was just back in the day. It ain't never happened to me. But I'm just saying it happens to everyone that has sex with a pregnant
Happens to everyone else but you.
Yeah. I'm special. I'm special.
Well, I got shit to do, so I'm gonna have to hop on down.
All right, brother.
Much love and respect and all that.
Yeah.
You guys have a good night.
Hey, thanks for coming up, man. I like when y'all come up here. Y'all have y'all things to say.
All right, thanks a lot, Tom.
This, man. I'm about to go.
Get some sleep.
Yeah.
I'll see y'all.
The panel's full anyway, so I'm about to go take my ass to bed.
All right,
good one, man. Okay, and then there was one. Well, she's not even in here. Let's move her. So she's gone. She's not at the helm right now. I don't know why she's at the helm. A woman squatting in the gym often pee right after they're in the squat platform. I don't know. It could be true. That could be true. I don't know. But yeah, it's just fact that most women that if you have sex with your pregnant wife, if she allows you to while she's pregnant, it's true that 9 times out of 10 she done pissed on you. That may not have been a lot, but she got pissed on. You just didn't know what it was. Yeah, check out Auntie. Yeah. All right, man. Well, you guys have a wonderful one. Thanks for coming up. Thanks for all the super chats out there. Thanks for everyone coming to the panel. The chat was on fire today. Chat lives matter. I need to make a shirt that says Chat Lives Matter. For real. But it's been a great show. I liked it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But we're out of here. I'm probably gonna get me some sleep. You have a good night. Deuces.